Today, on the Bob Dodd Show, two friends swing by the studio, Tavyn Gentry and Payne Goddard. They are great grips that are also very talented writers and directors that produce their own work. With the help of their crew, they can tackle any project while making sure they're having a good time doing it. Please welcome Tavyn and Payne.
Yeah. Pike. My favorite guy.
Pike Place
loves
Market.
coffee.
Huge open air fishing market in
Space
Seattle.
Needle.
Hey.
Nice.
Hell
Clap.
yeah. God, I can clap like a son of a bitch.
All right.
That's what I've always said. You've got the clap.
She sells sheesh. Fuck.
You could do it. You just did it like 4 times in a row.
I did it. Wait, we were recording then. She sells. Fuck. She sells seashells down by the seashore.
Anyway, start that one over. Cut that. Cut that.
Nah, that's staying. That's
Fine,
staying. Welcome to the Bob Dodd Show, guys. Thanks for stopping by. We have Payne and Tavyn.
What's up?
Hi,
I'm
These-
Payne.
I'm Tavyn. That's
So-
important.
Yeah, I want you guys to know something. We got some legendary rock stars here right now, and I'm kind of in awe. My buddy Heath, thank you, Heath, for hooking this up. I worked with Tavyn on Brockmire, 5 years ago?
Jesus, was it that
Yeah.
long ago?
Yeah.
I feel every time I try to talk about a show to somebody else, I feel so much older. It's
Dude,
like, oh yeah, when I did Stargirl, it was like, that was 4.5 years ago.
yeah. It goes by quick.
No, it wasn't. Please.
Yeah,
Well,
Brockmire was before COVID.
yeah, it
it's
was.
true.
That was
Yeah.
like 7 years.
Was it really 7 years ago?
Oh my God.
Well, 20 would be 5, and
It was
Brockmire was
2018.
2018.
Yeah, it was 2018.
I
Dude, that's the
wasn't with
last
you
time I
guys on
saw
that.
you.
No, it was Ozark,
Yeah. That's right.
which really wasn't that much long after, but
Yeah. My gosh. Ben, you've been staying real busy. And dude, thank you for bringing Payne. Payne, it was such a pleasure to meet you.
Absolutely.
Um,
Having heard about you before, and it's nice to meet.
Oh, yeah. So one thing I've heard about you is that you're really good at what you do. And I'm trying to find out, what do you do?
Who told him that?
I spent years breaking him down. Let's not build him up now.
Oh, come on. Be nice.
I am a best boy grip in the
Nice.
film industry and here in Atlanta, and it's going pretty well.
Nice.
Going pretty well.
Hell yeah.
My wife asked me, are you only going to have grips on? I said, babe, there is a monkey on my
Who
Bob
else do
Dodd
we
Show
need?
logo.
Who else do you need?
So yeah, that's great, dude. Best boy grip. And Tavyn, I met you on Brockmire, like I said, gripping.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's a little bit more that meets the eye though, with you guys, because you guys do a lot of your own projects and stuff like that. So, and you guys fund your own projects, and you guys basically do the indie circuit, don't you?
To a degree, I mean, we have been starting to branch out and do a lot more of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of layers to it. There's a lot of complexity with, as you know, with what we do. I mean, we spend 12 to 16 hours on set every day for months at a time or weeks at a time. It depends. But we have recently been really trying to make the push. Like I just produced a small comedy short film for a local key grip, Louis Pagan.
Louis, a good guy. Shout out
yeah.
to Lou. I
Yeah,
worked for
Louis-
him on How High too, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
He's been really trying to branch out and act and direct and be kind of separate himself from the grip department and do a little bit more.
Yeah.
So he was just in the South by Southwest Film Festival.
Yes, I wish I could remember the
Yeah, it had something to do
short
with
off the top of my head.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah,
it was
it's
a really
a-
cool piece that he did. He got to go home to Puerto Rico and do that, and then just before that, he did this. Just before he went and did that phenomenal short with them, this very emotional and beautiful piece, we did our terrible comedy film that we shot on $15.
It was a micro budget. I think it was funny.
It was funny.
I think it was good.
You guys are hilarious, so I know it's going to be funny. I haven't,
Yeah.
for the folks that are listening, I haven't seen it yet.
I'll have to send.
I'd love to see it.
We'll
It's
send
funny.
it to you, and you can put we'll send Louis Johnny Walker
Yeah,
to you as well, so you can maybe put the
Yeah.
link somewhere so people can watch them if they're interested.
that'd be cool. I'd learn how to do that, and then it could be in the link in the description.
But we're trying. We're trying to. The next project we have in the works is another short that we want to do that's a little bit more involved technically, because we want to showcase skill sets.
We've showcased writing and comedic input and putting people in positions that they would like to try and see how far they can go. This one is more more focused on what makes us good.
Yeah.
So this next one is
Grips.
very, very what makes us good. Carrying things that are heavy, looking at other
down,
people
picking
do
things up.
work.
Yeah.
This one is a lot of car rigging, a lot of intricate things that are the
Dude,
reason
get
that we
Jordan.
the reason that
Yeah.
we get our work. The reason
Yeah.
people hand us work to do the big shows.
Mhm.
We would like to showcase that in something smaller and kind of put out there. You don't need thousands and thousands of dollars to make a hostess tray look good, to make a car shot, a chase scene look good.
You just need people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, you know what? I've been doing some car rigging with the DJI, and I'm surprised at how well it's turning out. That's why when I did my first podcast, it was in log.
Yeah.
So I have this thing. It's a like sort of like a magic arm from Tilta. So it's a shock absorber, and then it has the isolator head on it. So when you're running down the road, it's like stays stable.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like our the
Panther.
the Panther,
Mini
Thank
Panther.
Mhm. Yeah. It's very similar, but on the small scale for basically like the DJI Osmos Pocket 3 or a GoPro. Or,
Oh, okay,
It's great.
Yeah.
like
And-
like its own little Steadicam kind of.
Oh yeah, and
rig?
it suction
That's
cups. It suction cups right to the car, and you can suction cup it
Yeah.
anywhere, and it works really, really well. So, like, I think that with car rigs and with all the different cameras that are coming out now, I think car rigs should be a lot easier than big pictures
man,
are
it's
doing right now.
just with the advent of modulus, mod truss.
Mod truss has changed the game. But I mean, even then, mod truss is expensive. If you're shooting an Indy,
Mhm.
you're not using mod truss.
Yeah.
Trust me.
expensive for a reason, but
But
yeah, it's
with even people pushing like different companies, Matthews pushing their like starter sets for car
Yeah.
rigging that come with suction cups, that come with rod kits, and it all comes down in a case. It's way more accessible to people than it used to be.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
now that people like us can put stuff on YouTube and show people how to do it.
Yeah, I think like Amazon has been a man. Like I bought a lot of cheap gear off of Amazon, and
I've got like 4 C stands from Amazon sitting in my garage.
yeah, and I realized that although that the Amazon gear isn't as good as like maybe the big professional gear, I get a lot of use out of it, and it's doing the job. Now
Some
is
is
it
better than none.
Yeah.
right? So when you're doing the budget of Amazon, that I think that you have like a different expectation, and I think that once you think that you have like because what you guys are always doing as far as the like the lower budget stuff, because you guys are paying for it yourself. I think that people that are in your shoes are always way more inventive, and you guys come to a solution no
You have to
matter what
find a way.
anyway.
Yeah.
So-
It's definitely a different ball game than when somebody's telling you, yes, you have that money. Go ahead and order that thing.
Yeah.
Okay, how can we do it without it?
Kind of
It
the
is.
beauty of our the grip department. The grip department is such an interesting job because we're on a daily basis forced to get into those positions of having to come up with something from nothing, or hey, here's this bucket of Legos, build me a house.
My favorite
Mhm.
part about the grip department is when things that have nothing to do with your job become your job, because they go, well, who can do that?
The
The grips, just give it to them. They'll figure it out.
Hey,
We'd always do.
grips, we need this to be a completely swingable set piece that we can shoot in 35 seconds. Can you guys do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it when the a wild wall was supposed to be there
Not.
on set, and
Oh my
it's not there, and then you get
Yeah.
the call, get the skill saw. All of a sudden you just hear zwing, and like you're cutting walls down, and some poor set dresser and painter and plaster, just all their hard work is just getting chopped up.
That's my
It's the
favorite part
worst.
is as the best way, letting them know, calling a coordinator or something and saying, hey, that structural wall is now wild.
Yeah. Better call the guys in tomorrow and find a way to
Hope you guys are
stabilize
starting
that.
early.
I remember on Ozark, we were it was me, Tom Poe, and this dude Brendan Riley, real good dudes. We're hanging a softbox above I forget the old lady's house. Anyway, we are building the softbox, and all of a sudden the ceiling collapsed. We're were on the ceiling, like there's
Oh,
like these
shit.
little walkways that they were told that we were told to walk on. And so we're walking on those walkways, and all of a sudden it just gives away. Like we didn't hear any creaks, any noises, or
Was this location or?
this was on stage.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we fall through, and like we all catch the frame of the softbox, and we're all hanging, and we're all looking down. Like I'm hanging with one arm because like I'm so fat, and I only got a good grip on one arm, and I just see like Tom and Brennan, and they're just like, looks like we got to jump, and I'm like, it's like 12 feet.
Oh my God.
So everyone's swinging on the softbox to try to land to like a table or a couch or something soft. I fall, man, boom, land on a chair, and totally just like hurt my arm and my chest and my legs and stuff like that. Brennan, I don't think got hurt. Tom, I don't think really got hurt either. The next morning, I mean, because it was like devastation. Then the next morning, everything looked brand spanking new, like it never happened. I'm just like, dude, yesterday this whole thing was gone. It was like down. Like, how did they repair it? And
We just had the safety meeting.
yeah, this is amazing. But those kind of things, talking about pulling wild balls, it reminds me of those like, oh shit moments, like that kind of stuff happens. And being that you talk about stuff always coming to the grips our way, we're always dealing with stuff like that. Our reaction would be way different than an electrician's reaction.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
oh my gosh, but that's funny. That just shout out to Brennan and Tom. I haven't seen or talked to those guys in a while, so it's been a long minute.
Nothing to bond grips like a good near-death experience.
Oh
Bro, we did. Can we say the name of the show?
I'm sure you can say the name of the show because
Statute of Limitations
it was none of their fault.
It wasn't the show's fault.
No.
I can tell you exactly whose fault it was. I won't.
Let's suffice it to say
let's not get anybody in trouble.
Suffice it to say we were on a show. We were at a location because we probably shouldn't give that away either. But it was at one point in time, it was a very fancy apartment complex. It was so fancy, in fact, that it got so expensive people couldn't live there anymore. So they turned it into really nice offices.
It was like live in art office.
Yeah, like for the different
somewhere in 5 Points,
kind of down there by the Painted Duck.
Okay,
yeah, for the different departments,
Really cool bar if
everybody.
you've ever been.
Yes, it is an awesome bar. The different departments each had their own little apartment in there, but some of them, like the one that we had all our grip stuff in, there was just a guy on this loft sitting above us for 16 hours, just staring at us. It was super awkward. But Tavyn and I had like a 2-hour pre-call. We were supposed to get there. We were supposed to dump some stuff off the truck. This was 5-6 years ago.
This is the hardest. The hardest? Still?
They're the worst day. I don't know about the hardest.
Still
Probably
the worst.
Probably the worst day.
when a grip tells you it's the worst day, it is.
It was the
Yeah.
It's the worst day of my career.
My gosh.
It was incredible.
I don't know if it's the worst day of my career anymore, but it definitely was at the time and for years. We had like a 2-hour pre-call. We're supposed to, puke some stuff off the truck, but this place only has one docking bay. So every truck has to come in one at a time back in onto the loading dock for us to be able to get stuff out. Well,
It's
of
our
course,
2-hour pre-call.
Of course,
Yeah.
we get there 2 hours early. No one else is there except a locations person. And what truck is parked in the docking bay? The camera truck.
Oh my.
So we have to get somebody to come move the camera truck who wasn't even supposed to be there yet to back the one of our grip trucks in. It's supposed to be our gear truck. He backs the dolly truck in there. So I'm talking to our grip driver and say, hey, there actually is a place around back. You can drive around the back of this apartment complex. We can offload in that parking lot and push through the doors. Instead of he drives around back there. We meet him back there. We start pulling some gear off the truck, and
We were in some guy's parking space. No, that was later.
So
It was the owner. It was
That happens after.
the
So
site rep.
the representative of this apartment complex, when we walk in, is yelling at our locations person that works on the show,
Sounds
screaming at the
par for
locations
the course so
person.
far.
This is the first thing that happens we come in. So for anybody who doesn't know, locations department, if you're coming to a fancy place beforehand, they will lay out mats on the floor so none of our carts
They'll
scrape
protect the
anything.
walls.
They'll put cardboard on the walls and on the corners of hallways just so that nothing gets banged into. Well, this lady comes out swinging immediately, screaming at this locations guy while we walk by about how it ruins the feng shui there.
Dude,
And he needs to have
Full
all these
Karen.
mats and cardboard taken up by the time people get here. It's like, ruins the feng shui now. You should see it after we bash all the walls in and knock all the corners and scrape the floor. Then we'll see how
You guys
feng shui
probably
is.
weren't the first project that ever
No,
came through
it was,
either.
it was
right?
insane. Like
Man.
2 seconds into the day and I already feel bad for the locations guy. And his
Man.
day, we're talking about it being our worst day ever.
he had to have.
There's no way that guy wanted to work after
Yeah.
this.
Dude.
So we get out there, we're in the back, we show up, the grip truck shows up, he opens it up, and we start getting some gear out. I don't know if it was his first day ever, but that guy
Bro. He could.
should not have been
You've worked a gate.
Yeah.
working a
buttons.
tailgate
Yeah.
before.
Hey, man, those things can be tricky. I love
One
my
goes up,
Teamster
one goes
buddies.
down.
Man.
And don't get us wrong. Teamsters are great. Every once in a while, though, it's as with
I mean,
with
grips-
any department. You
grips
come
are
across
the worst
one
about
guy,
it,
you're like,
too.
how the fuck
Yeah.
How did you get
still
here?
have a
How
job?
did you get here?
How did you,
Oh, dude.
how did you get here in life in general?
Yeah. Do you realize you have my life in your hands on this gate?
Yes.
Yes, and you know,
The majority
apropos,
of workplace accidents on a film set.
the first thing you pull out of the aisle of a grip truck is a sandbag cart that
Mhm.
weighs 650 pounds, and he pulls it out onto the tailgate, and I'm standing below it. Tavyn's on the gate with it, and the first thing he does is tip straight down. Bag cart comes off. Tavyn comes off. I jump out of the way. The bag cart spills everywhere. Tavyn manages to save himself, right himself up, and just, 600 pounds of sandbags fall 6 feet onto the ground. And just like, it's one of those where
experience one.
you take a second and you're like, okay, are you okay? I'm okay. Are you okay? We're picking that stuff up, and all of a sudden this guy drives up, parks next to us, starts screaming, just ranting and raving. I guess the truck had parked in his designated parking spot,
Oh,
which
yeah.
didn't have a
Not a
sign or
designated
a
parking
name
space.
or whatever. He starts freaking out on us. We're like, hey, it'll be gone in just a minute. We're just getting some stuff off. Then the site lady comes out and starts screaming about that we can't be back here. Nothing can be pushed through those doors. Get out of there. So, then we, already terrified at having the gate dumped on us,
My
have to
gosh.
repack the truck back up with the stuff that we've taken out so that he can drive off. Us having already being afraid for our lives are like, okay, well, we know the dolly shorty's pulled up at the dock, so let's go take the stuff off that we're supposed to take off. We go walking out. It's the gate's down. It's
like-
it's
it was
at
like-
the dock.
You know,
It
when
was
you know where
strange.
It was strange because it was down, but it was like this. It was
It's
it was a
tip-
good 4
It's-
inches off the.
Tipped a little bit, you wouldn't have wanted to roll stuff off
Yeah.
of it like that, but we stepped. There was nobody standing
Fixed
there.
it
The
up.
truck was off. We step up in there and tip the gate down from inside, just to kind of touch it down on the
Mhm.
dock, and we start unstrapping stuff, getting ready. And about halfway through unstrapping the first dolly and cart, the truck cranks, and we feel it go into gear.
Oh, no. Oh, my gosh.
The two of us look at each other and start scrambling and jumping. We jump off the gate and back onto the dock as the truck
drives
starts
away.
driving away, and he stops about 20 feet from there, and then he gets out screaming at us. We're like, you were parked. The truck was off. What? So,
Man.
in 20 minutes, we've already dumped a sandbag cart and almost died, and then almost been in the back of a moving truck as it's got stuff in it that is driving off.
Man. Yeah, that poor driver had no clue that you guys were
No,
doing
he had
anything.
no
absolutely
He,
idea.
no
he
clue.
woke up from a
Probably scared the
slumber,
shit out of him. Yeah.
and he was like, dude, there's I got to move this truck. Then puts it in drive and then runs off.
Yes.
You
So,
know?
the two of us already having heart palpitations at that point.
Dude.
Just we've been 2 hours, and we still got an hour and a half before people even show up that day. You know?
God.
We just started.
The rest of the day was awful. We ended up
We were in
one
the
of the
space of, so there was a hallway, there was a room, there was outside our main set, and it was just like a fashion designer space. So this lady, she's walking through, the actress doing her thing, it's computers are set up. We're right across the hallway in our staging.
Yeah.
It was 50 feet to do anything. I put in 15 miles that day.
Wow. Your step counter was like,
It was nuts.
rolling.
You know when it goes and then it goes around again and then it goes around again? It was one of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did 15 miles in the space of a hallway in a 15 or 16 hour day, plus our 2-hour pre-call.
Yeah, that's not
Man.
including the pre-call. And they ended up with these 2 enormous bay windows in this office space that we were shooting in. And the depth of there's like a little landscaping garden type area right outside. It was maybe 2 or 3 feet wide from the exterior wall. And we had 2 20-by frames.
Couldn't be in the garden and we couldn't be in the road.
Couldn't be in the road. Everybody inside is like, take them back, take them back. Live road behind us. Tell them this
My
is
gosh.
what
site
you
rep
get.
is out there yelling at us as they're yelling at us to move things back.
Dude.
And then our day wrapped up. We had like an hour and a half, 2-hour wrap out. It was just miserable. And our day ended on a Friday night with one of our grips, Chloe.
Oh, Chloe.
Having a full C-stand cart dumped on her.
That same guy that didn't know how to work the gate earlier, that,
little
that
Chloe.
hurt us. They put the C-stand rack on it, and instead of tilting it up to be level and going up, he just went up with it. So this C-stand rack that is already top heavy and
She's
weighs, 300 pounds.
It was me and Chuck
Yeah.
were out there with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she's what, like $1.15 all day?
Soaking wet.
Yeah. Like, man.
But yeah, so I'm sitting there. I'm walking up with gear in my hands to load on the truck, and I see this cart just
Yeah.
fall off, take her out. Like she gets
Dude.
domed by our cam tank. She hits the ground. There's
Oh,
C-stands
no.
everywhere. I go running over and I rip the C-stand cart off of her and pulling the C-stands off, trying to make sure she's okay. She's like, always fucking tougher than all of us. Did shed a
Yeah.
tear.
For
I was about to
sure.
say
Tear,
she's
had a
she's a
concussion. She's still got scars.
she's a tough girl.
But,
Tiny but mighty. Yeah. I mean, like I met her on Brockmire when I was with you. Yeah.
That was when she was a little baby grip.
And remember she pushed that cart up and I'd like, can I help you? No. Like, see yourself.
Still to this day.
Yep.
Still.
Yep. She's
Still to
cool
this
too.
day.
My gosh.
But so it was
So he
2-hour
hurt somebody.
yes,
Oh my gosh.
2-hour pre-call, 2 near-death experiences for us, which we're laughing about now, but at the time it's not cool.
No.
And then an actual 15-hour day, which for us was 17, then wrapping out and to end the night with somebody going to the hospital.
Dude. And then one of the nicest people too, like to be going to the hospital.
And then couldn't find the
Medic is gone.
medic. So I immediately switched over to hey, medic emergency. We're out at the truck. And I had the PAs scattered trying to hunt down the medic. They couldn't figure out where the medic was. Something happened. They were on the wrong channel. They were already on to talking to somebody else.
Now, this
like,
was the
oh my
one as
God.
well where they had sent people home in the vans.
No, that was the other one. That was the second incident where Chloe went to the hospital.
Oh my gosh.
His fault.
It's whoa.
What'd you do to Chloe, dude? So you and the Teamster both messed her up.
threw a combo stand at her.
Yeah. It was his fault in the same way that like butterfly flaps its wings here and causes something over there, causes a hurricane over there.
Good gosh.
There was a line of these combo stands. What show was that?
It was Kindred. We were wrapping out at 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah, it was. And in the woods, like you can't see anything.
That's another thing. Like people who just think about movie industry stuff and they think they want to get into it.
No,
They
it's a
don't
nightmare.
they don't know.
It's a nightmare.
They do not know. Like I try explaining to, because I do a couple different things outside of the film industry. So it's like I'm in the real world. I'm working on a construction site, running heavy machinery or whatever, and I'm talking to like a pipe fitter or whatever, an air conditioning guy, and they're like, "Yeah, I have a cousin that's in the film industry. They're a what do they call them? Background person." I'm like, "Oh, they're an extra." I'm like, "Yeah, that's it, extra." It's like, "Oh." He's like, "What did you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm a grip." And then you have to explain what that is.
Right.
And then
Yes.
one of the questions is like, "What's that pay?" And then they see what it pays. And like, I mean, and you can tell me what you guys think, but I don't think that the grip pay is like amazing. However, it's not bad because it's way better than real world prices.
Yeah,
Sure.
So,
I think it's complimentary.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you're like, man, I am not being paid enough to work 17 fucking hours.
Oh,
and
yeah.
almost
I
die
don't
a
think
couple of
anybody's
times.
getting
But then
paid
there's
enough
times
to work that.
where we're like, hey, you're
Sometimes
sitting on Apple Box for 10
sometimes
hours.
you're sitting on an Apple box and looking at your bank account and going,
yeah. Like,
they pay me too much for this.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
like 15% of the time.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot of the time, but occasionally it is.
Yeah. You get on a grip killer show and it
Oh.
turns not worth it. But at the same time, like I think you guys, well, I know Tavyn is, but like the more suck the show is as far as like how hard it could be, not if it's a bad show, but how hard it could be.
Mhm.
We pull a lot of energy from that, and we actually like that kind of
There is definitely
that's love the suck, like eat the suck.
Yeah.
in the
That
film.
sounds
Find the
bad.
humor in it.
Yeah.
We ran into that on for sure when we were out
Oh.
in the in
I
the
don't think you can
woods,
talk
in the
about any of
thorns.
that.
Well, I can say the name of the movie. We were in the thorns on
Yeah,
on a job. Oh,
it's okay.
You
Look,
can't say any of
I
that.
can't say anything.
I think that without talking titles of films, you can still talk your experience, and being that's not out yet, you should zip it up a little bit. That NDA can bite like an alligator.
Yeah. I don't want to be. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Tavyn out here trying to send us to prison.
No, not prison. You'll just never work in this town again. No,
Free bed, no bills, 3
Yeah.
square meals a day.
Yeah, but no
Man-
apple boxes.
Mandatory recess.
mandatory
And
recess.
a roommate that may or may not be cuddly.
Sometimes the recess is a little too mandatory, if you know what I mean.
Listen, what happens at recess, is going to happen at recess.
If we're in the prison yard, that's one thing, but like trapped in the laundry room or
Film people are so much like rock and roll people. It's kind of like a culture where like you get so close to one another, and I mean, gosh, like if you look at it, you spend a year's worth of time with somebody in 6-7 months.
OT, baby.
And then yeah.
I mean, to go back to what you were saying earlier with the
Yeah.
film industry or a special breed,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people, I'm sure both of you have had this happen, where somebody expresses interest about being in the industry. And I used to do that whole like, yeah, you can do it. It takes a little bit extra. I've gotten pretty good at being able to look at the people and go, yeah, you could do it, or no, you don't want to do it. And it's not like a gatekeeping thing. It's not like you don't want to do that. It's like, hey, I know you, and
You could do it, but you would suffer.
you would hate it. You would be miserable. And there are people that are miserable that
Yeah,
do this.
They like, I always tell people, if you want to start in the movie industry, your gatekeeper is the rigging electric. Go do rigging electric for 6-7 months.
Wrangle
And-
some cable and
Yeah, like
figure out how
Weeks
bad
of
you
that.
don't like that.
yeah, do that for a little bit. Go ahead and do construction for a little bit. Then once you get enough, like, what do they call that? Rhino skin or whatever, that bulldog skin, like, go ahead and try to be a grip.
Carry a couple
was-
35-pound sandbags to the
Yeah.
hill in the middle of summer.
And then there's that like special brand of psychosis that
Mhm.
grips have, where like, I when I first got in, it was like, okay, I should try everything and see what I like. And I gripped first, and I've never done anything else.
You don't know what, that's another thing too.
I just
Like,
loved it so much.
I don't know if you realize this, but you did not choose grip. Grip chose you.
Exactly.
Now you choose electric, you choose set dressing, you choose construction. Sometimes you can choose special effects, but special effects is another department that chooses you. So grips, special effects, they choose you. You do not choose it. You might go day play one of those
Sure.
departments, but if you are not that type of person, I mean, there's a reason why my logo is a golden ape. So I mean, like, my wife is like, you like Joe Rogan too much. He's all about apes and you're about apes. And I'm like, no, it's like, we're known to be like knuckle draggers as far as like in the film industry. And it's just like, we're actually pretty damn inventive.
Yeah.
It is. There is that interesting dynamic in grips, in that there are a lot of knuckle draggers.
It's a
There's a lot of
duality, though.
people.
You need
There are a lot of
both.
people that are just that way, and you need people like that.
Yeah.
I need people that are instead of going to work out, they're going to go be a grip and they're going to carry sandbags for
Yeah.
12
And they're
hours.
happy to do it.
Yeah.
Up
Like, fuck
30
yeah.
flights of stairs.
But they're also some of the smartest people I know.
Yeah.
That have no business being in this industry that
Mhm.
should go be engineers. Like
Yeah. Going back to that
there
car
are some
rig.
truly brilliant people, especially there's some rigging grips that just like if you actually knew what they had to do, and when they tell people no, you can't do something, there are certainly rigging grips out there that are saying it because they're lazy.
Yeah.
And there are others out there that you can look in their notepads next to them and see the math that they have done. And you go, dude, why are you here, man? Georgia Tech's right there.
Yeah.
Just go hang out with those kids for a while.
Yeah. I mean, like all the techie dudes that are like that. I mean, you get a lot of very bright, smart people that end up running dimmer boards and
Yes.
learning about universes and all that. Their brain works that way. Grips, they are so happy to do some of the roughest stuff. They might complain about it for a minute, but they'll do it again tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's just,
you better believe
there's
it.
something
Yeah.
special about being able to take this slop of grip equipment.
Mhm.
Like you've got this miscellaneous slew of shit. It's all in this 48-foot long truck. It's all in milk. If you've done your homework, it's all in milk crates.
Yeah.
Everything's listed and organized. You go through and someone points at a thing and they go, I need this to be attached to that, and I need it to do this. And there's something fun about being a grip or being a key grip, being able to look at that and go, okay, cool. I'm going to take all of these things and through some amalgamation of my mind, I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to make that camera go there. I'm going to make that light do this thing. I'm
Yeah.
gonna hang it from that. I'm going to make it suspend this to this and what
There-
have you. There's a beauty to it, and there's those beautiful mind moments where you just see the dots connect.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's
There's
fun.
there's
And when it works, everyone's like, yeah.
sure. And there's two sections to it. And I love both. I probably love the improvisation a little bit more than I love the planning, but I do love both of them in their own way, which is some shot that they have an idea from the
Yeah.
get-go, from the very start. It's like, here's what we want to do. We think it's going to be really cool. And you get all of that planning and putting all of that time and effort into it. And then watching it pay off in the end, some big shot that they
Yeah.
wanted to do. And, it cost X amount of dollars and everybody's so excited about it. And all the producers come out of the woodwork that day. And there's more people on set ever because everybody wants to watch that cool thing.
And who made it work? The grips.
The grips. But there's also that improvisational aspect to it. That's like, yeah, we did that, but we just had this really cool idea for a shot.
Yeah.
Can you make this happen? A show that we did not too long ago on our last day of shooting, our very last day of shooting, they came up with a condor rig on set that they wanted to poke through the top of the set and do a little shot. And then while we were doing that, which was offhand,
Mhm.
they decided that our last shot needed to be a dissension rig.
Oh,
It's like, hey, you got a couple hours and lunch. Can you build a dissension rig? We're just going to hook the stunts already has a line up there and we'll just hook it in to there. And it's like, okay, yeah, sure.
yeah.
So,
We'll see what we could do.
and it's one of those things that I complain about. Oh, I got to do all this stuff. But dude,
So much fun.
I skipped
Yeah.
lunch because I wanted to.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there in the truck putting this whole thing together and then it happens and it
It
was
looks so
awesome.
good.
It looks
What-
so good.
What's it called? Those machines, like where the marble falls and hits a shoe.
Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg.
Ru-
Yeah.
Like grips are constantly building those machines for
For
film,
sure.
Oh,
camera,
hell
like doing a whirly do for a camera or whatever. Building, I don't know, man. Like how many times have they said, we're not doing this shot, like shot 62, we're it's done. So and so can't even make it. They're sick. So we're gonna do shot 54. And you're like, oh man, that's like 40 feet of dolly track. And there's like 2 feet over here and maybe 8 feet over here. And it's just like, sorry, you got Luma beans, build something. It's like,
Exactly.
you're right. We do. There we go.
Exactly. We had a day on that same show where we showed up, we set up for our first shot. Our actress was sick.
Hmm.
So we literally pivoted days. We were supposed to be at that same location later. But the second thing was all, the first thing was interior, all in this same little place, small stuff. The second day was all exterior. I had $15,000 worth of special equipment gear that should have been there for that. And we had to pivot on the day. And it was, all right, get everything out of this building, out of this room. We're going to drive off down the street and we're going to get this with what we have.
Yeah.
And so I'm calling up vendors, and luckily, ProCam, there was one person still, and we were shooting nights, and there was one person still in the
in Atlanta area.
Yeah,
Hey, do me a
there,
favor.
and managed to get us a crane out there, which wasn't what we wanted or what I had scheduled for those days, but it definitely helped us get done what we wanted to do.
Man, that happens so often to you too. Being a best boy, like one thing that I love about good best boys is the thirds don't feel a thing. They know that something's happening, but they don't feel something's happening. Like, yeah, they're doing all the hard work because of the change. Because like, there's times where you set up a whole entire scene and they're like, oh, we're not going to do that. And all the material that you just set up is your material from your truck. And there is no other material. So when they decide to change the scene, that material might have to go to the next scene. So you were disassembling it quick and then having to put it right back up quick.
For sure. That was a whole lot of moving, and there wasn't a plan for where the trucks needed to be there. And, all of this stuff, which, Transpo handles a lot, but a lot of that is a co-captain and best boys being like, all right, well, let's figure it out. We didn't do this in a meeting, so let's all get together.
Transpo on that
They
show was
ask us, where do you want to be? They were
man.
rad. They ask us, where do you want to be? And I ask them where I want to be, and they do their best to put trucks there. And I think people who aren't in the film industry get lost in how much money things cost.
Oh,
they see those massive budgets.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, and even people above me, but I see pieces of it, and I go, and it costs every dime of that to do some of this stuff.
Tavyn, like when you're doing your scripts and stuff like that, because like I started doing some research and I noticed that scripts, the way that they are written, each line has a dollar value. So if you're writing one page and one page has 15 lines on it, depending on your budget for the film, that one line might be a $4,300 line. And then there's 15 of those.
Cleopatra enters.
Oh, yeah.
And then there's 15 other lines that are all like, $2,200, $5,800, $6,200. And it's just like each page is like a, some kind of like $45,000 page.
And somebody has to decipher all that. There's all the, the famous examples of that, which one of them is the Star Wars, where in the script it just says Anakin and Obi-Wan fight.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, but in reality, that was 10 minutes of the movie, a ton of CGI.
Oh, yeah.
All of the coordination and mapping that out with stunts. And there's no telling what that cost. And it was
how many different the ideas changed too? Like,
oh man,
how many times we filmed something? Oh my gosh. People don't realize that we'll spend a month on like a scene and they'll cut it. And it's just like that month was 1.6 mil. Yeah.
Some of those scenes are we do a lot of work, but like I feel bad. I feel so bad for actors, especially like day play actors that have their scenes cut. It's like you get excited, you got your chance, you come out on this fucking show or this fucking movie, and they're like, all right, cool, we can do this scene. It looks great. The crew spent forever shooting it. You get in there, you do your thing. Awesome.
Dude.
Doesn't make it.
Yeah.
It's like heart-wrenching.
Yeah. And then people, you try to tell them too, like, man, you could be working 3 months on a movie and then it gets pulled. And you're like, oh, well, I thought we're 3 months in, there's sets built and everything else. And like, we have to just disassemble all these, rigs that we have. For all the rigging grips out there, when you're doing your 6x6 grid or your 8x8 grid for all this stuff for the construction to hang all their gear off of and all the electricians, they're like, yeah, we need that off first. Like, no, that's not the way that works. That's not the way that works. There's not a lift that can get to the center of that stage.
Yeah, right.
We need the carpenters to pull the sets down, but that stuff needs to go. It's like, yeah, you rented all that stuff, but you own all this stuff. That's why you want that to happen.
Yeah.
Like, God, go ahead and disassemble this and we'll get what we can get.
It is a fun part of like figuring out what people care about.
Mm-hmm.
And typically you can guess that they own that gear.
Yeah. And it's so wild. Like being in the industry for as long as I have been, and I wore many hats in the industry. I feel like I really I found a home when I became a grip. And
Oh, for sure.
when I transitioned to the Teamster world, the driving world, I mean, that's what I always wanted to do. I've been wanting to do that since 2009. I started in 2007, and 2009, I was like, I want to do that gate because, Ricky Bobby can't do the gate, like I can drive that truck and do the gate. But anyway, like, now that I'm driving, it's like, I really like sometimes like my last show, I was working with, the rigging grips on Superman.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. And, I didn't tell them that I was a grip. So for the first 2 weeks, I'm like seeing what they're doing. And then I opened my mouth the third week and people were like, what are you now? It's just like, well, I mean, I don't know much actually, but
Well, it's such an interesting thing too, is like, not, at least for us, I've noticed it's so nice when you've got a driver that either knows what the fuck your gear is,
Mhm.
or at least pays enough attention to know how many carts go on the truck usually.
Yeah.
Because when you got some dingus day player, you're like, hey, I don't need you here. Go start loading the truck so we're not here for 4 hours after
Yeah.
wrap. And they're loading the truck, and you got the transport driver. It's just like, hey, that goes in second.
Yeah.
Put this in. This goes in there. And it's like, dude,
when
thank
you're,
you.
yeah, when your +4 is like new out of like film school, no offense if anybody went to film school, but they're new out of film school and they're like, Mr. Richardson said you close a C-stand like this and put it in this taco cart. And it's just like, dude,
Those are
listen,
the best.
man,
Those are the best.
that's great. Mr. Richardson has a real nice taco cart, I'm sure,
They
Oh, taco carts are great.
yeah. That's film talk for, so in my previous podcasts, I have, let some people preview the podcasts. And, one of the complaints I had so far, there were complaints, that we talk too much, like
lingo.
technical lingo. And it's just like, dude,
the jargon.
the film industry is nothing but technical
It's
lingo.
nothing but lingo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything we joke in grip, everything has its Atlanta name, it has its New York name, it has its LA name, and then it's whatever that key grip calls it that day.
Yeah.
Well, I tell people, like, when I'm traveling too, it's like, oh man, it sure would be nice to come here and work. Or like when I was in Japan, it's like, I've thought about living in Japan for years. But they're like, I've had people, oh, would you just work in the film industry in Japan? Like, no.
Well,
But why not? It's like, well, okay, I've spent 10 years learning this job, I still learn new names of gear.
oh yeah.
Because some psycho on another crew that I've gone out to day play decides they're going to call a set of lips an onky bonk because they're from Florida. And it's like, hey, fortunately, I worked with a Florida key and I knew what that was. But bro, like, you got some fucking dingus isn't going to know what the hell that is. I had a guy come from LA that didn't know what an ultra bounce was because didn't know what a clay coat was. So I called it a clay coat.
Yeah.
Called it an ultra bounce. And it's like, that's just,
Well, that's
just
another thing too.
name
If
for it.
if you bought gear, that's why you call it a clay coat.
Interesting. See, and I was like, I call it both.
Yeah.
Depending on, whatever,
Yeah.
but how I feel that morning. But it's like, if I'm going to go to Japan, hey, gotta learn hard enough going to Ireland and doing it.
Yeah.
In Japan, I got to learn the language first, fluently.
Not
Then I
all,
got to learn the jargon,
yeah.
and then I got to learn that cruise jargon.
There's too much to learn.
It's too much. It's not worth it.
Too much to learn. I feel like too that in the United States, that when you say that you're a grip, there is a like,
Dial-up
oh,
noise
I've
in everyone's
heard
face.
that before. That's cool. That's cool. When you say an electrician, they just associate it with electricians.
Yeah.
But when you are
Actual transferable skill
overseas
set.
and you say grip, like to a person that's in London, they're like, oh, you're a dog. You're a dog, mate. You're a dog. Go get me that wood. It's like, put me that flat over there. You do everything.
Like, fuck.
Shine my shoes.
Joke on you. I know how to do that.
Yeah. It's the best shoe shine you ever heard. That's why I said
This
heard.
is where my years of living on the streets come in handy.
Yeah, man. I feel like, yeah. So the complaint of too much jargon. I'm sorry, folks that are listening that don't know the film jargon. For the film folks that are listening, dude, explain it to your buddy that's with you, because they probably don't know. Or maybe they do know, because like film people hang out with film people.
So you got an onky bonk, which is also called a set of lips, or called a platypus, or a clapper, or a foam board holder, a quacker. It is a
it's vice grip.
Vice grip with a plate on it. It's a vice grip with like two little plates that do this, and they hold really anything, but they primarily hold bead board,
which is a piece of foam.
It's like a styrofoam.
Yeah. Which that has either, like a really flat silver finish on the side that's kind of like satin looking, or it's a real flaky silver, or a
oh man.
Yeah, I mean there's too many different silvers.
Anyway, this is our 2-hour podcast about beadboard and bounces.
Dude, yeah, I mean like I tell you what. Yeah, I mean like dude, time, this is why I said there's no time limit, because you know what? To a film person listening to this, they're still tuned in. To, the folks
Let's be honest, they think there's still 16 hours to go.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, they're waiting to hear.
Well, if they're the cart guy, they're still listening to it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Don't worry. 5 minutes before the show ends, excuse me, I'll scream out Abby or something, or Martini. But yeah, I mean, while I have you guys here, I mean, like, dude, talking industry is great. You guys are interested in doing your own podcast, and you guys have a lot of ideas, and thanks for your help dude. These boys here, they were helping me like get my lighting straight and everything here, trying to learn some stuff, because I'm learning every day. When you guys are thinking about your own podcast, you guys are purchasing gear, getting things straight. And Tavyn, you said you're building this in your basement, so you're making a whole studio. Just podcast talk. I mean, so much of your film industry background, I'm sure, is helping you build your basement out. When you're looking at your basement and you're thinking about starting your project, what's the first thing you started with?
We started with the idea first.
Yeah, you guys planned it out?
Well,
story of it.
I just built a table and bought microphones.
Yeah.
Hold on, I might need a beer. Hold on.
Our biggest thing is really the tangents that we go on.
Tangential conversation is our trademark.
The two of us, if you can't tell by our rapport, we work together for hours and hours and hours and hours a day.
I'm so interested.
And
but when I do it at D&D, it's a problem.
Yeah, but because there's only one mic, and you crack it right into that, and then you sit there and eat something, and it the whole time, and there's only one viewer of that. It's me. When I go back to make the notes of our D&D sessions, and I got to sit here and listen to you crack 12 Red Bulls over the course of 4 hours.
You drink 12 Red Bulls?
It's like 11.
Dude, so like real quick before we go back to the podcast, for the folks that are in Pittsburgh that worked on abduction, there was a poor girl there that was crushing Red Bulls.
Hell yeah.
And something happened to her that I mean, correct me if I'm wrong in comments or whatever. I hear if you comment, it's great for an algorithm, so comment away. But she was drinking so many Red Bulls that and she was working like 19, 20 hours a day, sleeping in her car because she's a PA. And she wasn't eating, wasn't like really drinking water because she was so tired because she was working so hard. I mean, I'm sure she was doing this all on her own accord. It wasn't being forced on her at all. But she started getting these little blisters all over her skin.
Whoa.
And they were popping them. And little green pus was coming out. And the word on the street was that it was because she was drinking so much Red Bull that
hell yeah, pop those things, bottle it, give it to me.
Her body her body couldn't handle it, so
Red Bull concentrate.
It had to like put it somewhere, so she was getting blisters.
Me energy.
Meanergy.
Write that down. Write that down.
Get your fill.
Get your blister. Get your blister on,
dude. That's how you have. It's actually I did read. It's a precursor.
Mm-hmm.
It's to a medical condition that is actually called having a fucking heart attack.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's the symptoms are drinking 12 bangs in one day,
yes.
Followed with Red Bull chasers.
Gosh. So you're that guy.
Yeah,
not
I
that
like to,
bad. We exaggerate.
People go to the gym, they train their muscles to failure. I train my heart to failure.
Dude, like that's almost as like you're worse than Kenny. Kenny drinks all that Coke.
I drink water.
If you haven't seen Kenny,
Now, the only
Yeah.
difference is that Tavyn doesn't have the cigarettes to sustain him
That's
between
true.
Yeah.
Cokes.
dude, there's something odd about Kenny.
That guy's
So,
immortal.
Kenny's immortal.
Dude,
Kenny
there's
sits at the hand of the all grip.
the last time I saw him, he was a man dime. I was like, holy shit, Kenny, what did you do? You're gorgeous.
Dude, the fucking
looks
flowing
great.
locks.
The
and
hair.
Beautiful.
Oh my God.
I was like, this is Kenny that I was telling you about to my wife. I was like, this is Kenny. This is the grip that like
This is the
outgrips
first grip.
everybody. And she goes, I thought you said he was old. I was like, he was last year.
I swear he was. Yeah,
he
he's
was
got
like
like
50 something. I
he's
don't
got
know.
like
He was older than me.
blood packs or something.
Dude,
I don't know what
I
he
would
does.
Fucking,
Dude
not
looks
to be dramatic,
good.
but I would fucking die or kill others for Kenny.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
I would go
great.
to war for that man.
He's
Yeah,
great.
there's too many
Oh.
people in our circle that just like I like if anyone ever says anything bad about Low and Dick, I get so irate. You know, like anybody that says anything about like Landon, because like I had a couple key grips. I shouldn't say a couple. I had one key grip say something about Landon, and I was like, don't say that shit. He's my buddy. And
yeah.
he fired me next week.
Oh, it's not something you want to work for anyway.
No, I don't want to work for
No.
that guy. But anyway, and somehow if you're listening out there, you know who you are. But anyway,
Fuck you.
yeah.
Uh,
But yeah, like people, dude, that's Kenny territory. Kenny drinks so many different, like I shouldn't say so many different, so many Cokes, and he doesn't drink water, dude. Like we did an
Guy's
equation, and he drank a so if you as many Cokes as he drank, I think Jordan, somebody did the math.
I think I heard about this.
Yeah,
I think was
it is a 1 and 1/3 bag of sugar a day. That's how many Cokes he drinks.
Yeah.
Something crazy.
Ken-
Hey,
Kenny's fossilized from the inside. He'll never die.
yeah, any Gripolotopus grips out there, Landon, Tyler, you know, Baby Bear, Jordan, Ben, all you guys out there, Heath, write it down in the comments what it was, because I don't remember. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
It's important for science.
Yeah,
Yeah,
dude.
it's
But yeah, so you
you
guys
gotta,
are,
you gotta have him on so he can tell the
dude. If
hitting
he
the power line story.
he told me he'd go motorcycle riding with me, and every time I offered him, it was like, no.
he's got a story about a condor hitting some power lines that I think would be great for the
Hopping.
podcast.
Oh, dude, yeah. I had some power lines on Superman.
Oh fuck.
I bumped the power line, and it made the box just chirp off. You know, it wasn't like a big deal.
Oh, that's good. Holy
Yeah.
God.
I mean, it was just a you know, a big, you know, skybox. It bumped it, and everyone was like, I heard that noise. I was like, it's just the switch. It just turned the switch off. That's all it was. It wiggled. It happens in storms all the time. And everyone thought I was going to get fired. And then when the electrician came out here, he goes, dude, I come out here all the time. And I'm like, why? He's like, because every time it blows, this thing trips. And it's just like, I told you, locations guy. I told you. But I want to get back to your podcast. So like, what was the first thing that you thought you had to tackle besides like, you know, knowing that you need equipment, and obviously you're planning it.
We had shot 2 test episodes because we struggled with the concept of what it was. We knew we wanted to do a podcast together because we knew based on our rapport, and then we talked together, and the level of comedy that we kind of get going with one another, razzing each other, building each other up, works really, really well, and people subscribe to it very well.
Yeah.
However,
I hope so.
You're likable.
no, we haven't gotten fired yet. We got a 15-hour day captive audience. We haven't gotten fired yet. At work, we have radios.
Yeah.
And they're in everyone's ear, and they have no choice but to listen to us.
Can't turn the podcast off.
No. That is a 15-hour podcast.
So
all
we're
the time.
used to the long
Yeah.
podcasting hours.
And that's another thing too, like with the film industry folks, along with rock and rollers, if you're pushing a cart and you're doing all the behind the scenes stuff for rock and roll, and you're a rigger and you're doing all the sound, all the crazy stuff that gets said, you kind of get like numb to the crazy stuff. Like you hear the craziest of crazy and you don't realize it, but you'll laugh out of nowhere. Like 40 minutes later, you're like, oh my God. And you're laughing, and someone's like not where your mind is. And they're like, what are you laughing at? I'm like, well, you know, Lou said that thing. It was funny. It's like, you're laughing about it now. It's like, why? I was.
Sometimes you were busy at the moment.
Yeah, you're doing 100 things at the moment.
80 feet in the air at the time.
Yeah. But it is funny. Like, humor is a big part of the film industry.
Humor is a big
Yes.
part, and not to circle right back around to what you were saying earlier, but
Yeah.
when you were like a certain type of people in the film industry, it's like you get that comedy, and you can't get sick of each other because you spend so much time doing this.
You're
You spend-
a compulsory family.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
It's-
you spend at least 12 hours a day, Grips, at least 12 hours a day with the same people for months.
Yeah.
And then if you stay on that crew for years, and
yeah.
on 2 shows ago, I think we did we've done more than this in the past, but the most recent one I can think of was 2 shows ago. We did a 78-hour week.
Yeah.
It's
what
like-
was that? But yeah.
But
You know,
that
that's-
78-hour week really is like 100-hour week.
Exactly.
Because the amount of shit that you do in that 78 hours.
Sure,
It doesn't cover
especially
driving home.
doesn't cover
Yeah.
driving. As a
Driving to
best boy, it
work.
doesn't cover phone calls, emails, and stuff that I'm doing when
Yeah.
we're not at work. And it's, and then sitting there on a Saturday after an overnight, putting in the times from the time card. That's not time I get to put on there.
Man.
But you really have to have some kind of connection with the people that you're with.
Yeah.
And, it helps to have connection with all the other departments.
Yeah.
So, you can sit there and first name people and we know who you're talking about
Yeah.
because at some point we've done one show with them, but that one show might have been 3 months, 12-hour days, which would be, somebody who has worked with someone for 6 months. The amount of time that you've spent 6 or 8 months at your job getting to know someone, we've worked the same amount of hours with them in a month or 2.
Yeah.
And it's like,
You remember the memorable ones, and then you completely
Oh,
forget the
for
forgettable
sure.
ones.
Well, and you have to get along, because if you don't, it takes one.
you will
Yeah.
see
It's
people.
one person.
You'll see a lot of people at their best when everybody's happy to be there, but you are guaranteed to see at least each of those people at their worst.
You're going to see at least one meltdown from every single person at least once every 6 month show.
Definitely.
If it's me, you're going to see at least 4.
And
today.
one thing too that like every grip department, I don't care what show you're on, has that one dude who's kind of like an asshole.
Yeah.
And that asshole gets defended all the time because you're like, that's my fucking asshole. Don't you say nothing about that dude. I know he did that. Yeah, that's an asshole thing to do, but he's my asshole, so shut up or else.
Yeah, then they get promoted to best boy.
Yeah.
If you can't see the problem, it's you.
Man, yeah, I mean, like, dude, I could talk film industry stuff all day. This could be a film industry talk, but I'm like really interested in the fact
Yeah,
that like you guys
we'll-
are wanting to do
We'll change
the
gears.
podcast too, though. Like, because like the reason why I asked, like, what's the like you planned it? I didn't. I unfortunately I went through this as like this is what we're doing. There's no work here. My wife and I had talked about doing a production company for podcasts. So that's what started this. So this podcast is so I can learn my chops and really like learn how to produce something for somebody else.
Hell yeah.
In
So-
fairness,
Mhm.
like you
Looks
said,
great.
you just sat down to do it, and we've been talking about it, and you're a lot further along in the process than we are.
Very
'Cause
much
We
so.
got, I think, for a long time, we got bogged down in what it was that we wanted to do. Like he said, there's a whole backstory as to why we even wanted to start one in the first
Tell that
place.
story in a minute.
But
Yeah.
us being friends and deciding that this was what we like to do, and enough people, they would say absolutely not. But listening to us on the radio, we've been told a number of times that we should do something like this.
Yeah.
And like he said, we gave it a couple of tries. I've got somewhere on a hard drive like 3 different versions of our first episode,
Well,
which
we
was
thought it would be
nothing.
smart
It
to
was-
do like up to date.
It was audio
entertainment
only.
news.
It was just us in one of my extra rooms. Just
For entertainment commentary,
Yeah.
basically discussing current events within the entertainment world, whether it's film,
Yeah.
TV, video games.
Which is pretty big right now. I know a lot of people understand that we're in a lull right now
yeah,
because that pizza, store that's like downtown wherever normally is like, hey man, this is May. We normally do like 18, 20 pizzas for
the entire
for,
pizza industry
for
suffering
John.
right now.
Yeah. and we're not doing that.
What is Little Caesars going to do without us?
Yeah. And then, dude, my homeboy, I call him my homeboy, dude. In the film industry, you work and get to know people so well. That doesn't mean you're going to remember their name,
bro.
Yeah. So like,
Show to show.
That is crazy. But it's funny when you see that person and they've done the same thing to you.
Oh, yeah.
And you're both super excited to see each other. And you're like, what was your name?
All the time, dude.
And then
All
you
the
hug
time.
Call somebody
afterwards.
dude or bro or buddy or hey man for 6 months.
Yeah.
Buddy is mine. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, and it has to be that way because if you really like learned everybody's name, either you've worked on that show for more than 6 months or
You're a good person.
or yeah, you aren't really doing your job and
Don't
you're
have
thinking
enough other
about
stuff in your head.
yeah, you don't have a lot of stuff in your head. Cause like, gosh, man, people remember my name just because it's Bob Dodd. Bob Dodd.
It's so fun.
It's just easy to say. It rolls off. But
When
dude,
your name is your full name to people, like that's a good
Oh, but you
name.
get your first and last name.
Yeah.
You get called.
dude, so many times people come to
like
that-
Michael Cape.
yeah.
Michael
It's
Cape.
always Michael Cape. Whenever you talk to somebody, it's Michael Cape,
But when you have a powerful name like Lowendick,
bro.
dude, he's coming on. He's coming on in,
Oh, yeah.
in like a week. I
Good.
can't wait to have him.
Love
Good.
Owen Dick.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Landon and Tyler if they want to come on like separately or together, whatever.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but I'm trying to get my chops up, you know, trying to get like, so, because I know Landon's like Mr. Professional. Tyler I could have on and we could be in Hawaiian swimsuits or we could be in scuba gear or whatever and he'll do it.
I just wear the flowers.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
And
I
then
thought this was a nude beach.
this is a nude cast.
Nude cast. Oh, we found our niche.
But yeah, I mean, like, so I'm hoping to have some people that mean a lot to me in the future come on. You know, I'm just trying to get my chops.
Oh yeah.
That means
And-
you don't mean a lot to him. Come on.
No, that's you have to understand. You have to understand our relationship. You know, so it's like when the last time I saw Tavyn, you were like, it was like 6 years ago,
Yeah. It's 2018. It was-
or no, like 4 years ago. Yeah, because on Ozark.
Yeah, it was on Ozark. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like
But-
season 3 or whatever.
Yeah, and then still though you left Ozark to because you had your own thing or you had something going on like that was furthering your career. So like, you know, like the good best boy that Tyler and the key grip Landon is like, dude, like they will have you on if you want to come.
Yeah.
And then if you need to go, then like they understand you need to go.
That's such the beauty of like having a nice nuclear group of
Yeah.
keys to work for and with is like between Landon and Lou,
Good people.
good people that are understanding of that, like this job is your job, it's not your life kind
Well-
of thing, and that some people I gotta go do this thing. Hey, I gotta go. I had this trip planned already, or
Yeah.
hey, I'm working with you, but this is who I work for
Well-
primarily. I can work here a couple of days, and then I gotta go do the show,
Yeah.
or what have you, and then being understanding of that is nice, and it creates a really strong level of loyalty to
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you know that they know and you know that you're gonna come back.
Yeah. But it's not only even like that you're going to come back or whatever. It's like for instance, like Tyler and Landon, you know, they know if you're going somewhere and doing something, they're like, you have a life. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Go get it.
It's not held against you.
Yeah. Go get it, dude. And like whenever you're ready to come back, let me know. We'll bring it
Yeah.
back on. And that's awesome.
That's the fun of being a best boy is when people tell you, hey, I can't be here for 3 weeks.
Yeah. Well, I
And
mean,
it's like, yeah, man, go do your thing. Life's more important.
it is. And like for all your best boys out there that are listening to this, and for people who don't know what a best boy is, it could be a lady or a girl. It's a film term.
Best boy is a gender neutral term.
Yeah, it's a gender neutral term, and it is really like a department term. But yeah, like realize that you're not going to get your job done with a bunch of amazing grips because they're going to end up fighting. And if they're so super good, then
Yes.
you know what? You got a bunch of random heroes on your crew.
You do run into that.
Then
where
yes.
then all of a sudden you got turmoil. But if you get a clique that understand everybody's like strengths and weaknesses and you know understands everybody's like way of thinking, there is a wavelength there that dude, you ride that wave and you feel like I don't know, man, you feel like Silver Surfer riding that wave.
There's a one of my favorite people, or one of my favorite books, the Book of Five Rings.
Yeah.
Talks about that, and talks about being like a master carpenter, and how the master carpenter doesn't have to be the best carpenter on the crew. He just needs to know what every single tool does.
Yeah.
And that really ties in so well to being a key grip or being a best boy.
Yeah.
And you have to build a team, but your team also has to be able to work well enough together and complement each other.
Yeah.
It's like, you don't have to, even if you're the key grip, you don't have to be the best grip on your crew.
Dude.
You have to have enough people, or your pocket guy doesn't have to be the best grip on your crew. They just need to know how to facilitate and utilize
Yeah.
the tools essentially that are there for them. And if you can do that, that elevates you.
I mean, if you're a key grip, you better be the best grip on the thing. I'm gonna roast the fuck out of you the whole time.
No, you don't even gotta be,
Lefty
dude.
tighty, righty loosey.
You don't even but like still though, like even with a key grip, you don't have to be the best because you're
In
a
sense of you don't have to
facilitator.
do everything.
No.
Yeah, like you're a facilitator, dude. You're the one you're the mirror. You're the magic mirror when you're a key grip, because every time you have someone stand in front of you, you're like, you're good at this, and I know you'll be able to do this task. So you align your people that are you. If you're a good key grip, you learn your people.
Mhm.
And then once you learn your people, you learn what they're good at and what they're not good at.
It's also a very social job, which people don't seem to catch. You can tell good key grips from bad key grips as the relationships that they build, as well as best boys.
Yeah.
Relationships that they build. Just like it's important to build your team, it's important to build those around you and have people know what you're good at.
Yeah.
And so if you're the kind of key grip that builds their back off of being outside and doing crazy rigs exterior and, building blue screen walls that are use many lulls and do things like Landon and Ozark, for example. If you're doing an
Landon is an
exterior
amazing
show,
example.
if you're doing an exterior show that is going to be incredibly complicated and you're going to be in the woods or on a lake or anything,
Yeah.
call Landon.
Yeah.
He's going to be the guy.
Well,
And so you have to brand yourself as these things as well.
Landon
That can go a
yeah.
long way.
Landon has something common with other. So in my industry, for the folks that are listening, there are two types of keys or gaffers you could work for. And that is somebody who is a nice person or a mean person. So literally you have 50% mean people or 50% nice people in my experience. I've been very fortunate that majority of the people that I've ever worked with have been nice people.
Yeah.
Maybe one in my entire career was not nice. When you're working with Landon, he doesn't dog you because you don't know something. He doesn't dog you or out you when you don't understand something. So that that right there is a superpower. It's a superhuman power that Landon holds, that he's looking at you and he's figuring something out about you, like you're not getting it. So he changes to like mold his sentence or whatever so you can understand what is actually happening. And then he doesn't.
You got to change the narrative a little bit to get somebody to
like
get something.
I like to think of them a little bit less as like, the douchebag key grips and the nice key grips. And I think it's easy to see which ones, like there are crews that are teaching crews and there are crews that are job crews. It's like these guys are here to get it done. They're not really interested. You're a day player. They're not really interested in teaching you. And if you do make it out there, he doesn't ask you, Best Boy doesn't ask you what your experience level is, and you make it out there with one of those crews, none of those guys have an interest in teaching you.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a pocket guy or somebody that is, but a lot of those crews are like, they're very close knit. They're closed off. They don't really, you're a day player. Who cares?
Yeah.
Then there are crews that they want you to learn. They want you to be there. You can ask them whatever question.
Trademark of good leadership.
And I would, even then it's like, I like being a teacher. I like teaching people, and I like working on crews that are open to teaching people. There is definitely something to be said for that group that's done 27 shows together and they're hard to break into from the outside. You have to go day play with them for 4 months before they even talk to you.
Yeah.
It's rough. It can be rough. I've been on those kind of crews before. But if you're the kind of person who learns by watching, you might get some of the best information out there.
Yeah.
But some of those guys are jerks,
Yeah.
and you may hate it.
Dude, I had the privilege of working with on Superman, a key grip I never worked with before, and a rigging key that I never worked before. For starters, Kent Baker is a rigging key on Superman. They call him Kent Baker, the movie maker. And dude, the dude is, I think, all right, I'm going to try to word this. So I'm going to try to word this so it doesn't seem like I'm like slobbing his knob too much, but the dude is amazing. Okay. And the way his brain works, the way his team works together, the way he picks people, the way he does things, dude, it's amazing. His whole entire rigging crew, like his core crew that he had with him, like all the Atlanta dudes, all the California dudes, were all something. Like every day I learned something new that I didn't know.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So when you're working with that, like someone who's like of that stature, you think of my like, oh, because I was driving on that show. I was just there. I was the 53-foot driver. So I was, watching them and learning so much. And when
it's impressive when you can watch and learn that much, especially when you've been doing it for a while.
Yeah. And then Scott, who is the key, he also owns Sin Moves. But when I was watching Scott, dude, that guy knows how to move a camera. So anything that he was helping with, it was something I didn't see before. And it was on a different level than, when I say different level, it's not a different level. It was on a different like lens, because like when I was working with Landon and Tyler, I was used to that and I learned them.
Mm-hmm.
And when when you're working with Landon can tell a makeup artist like, hey, this brand or that brand of makeup that you're using is not going to work well with this camera. And you have that kind of knowledge, and like, you just don't doubt Landon. Like if Landon says something, there's a reason why he's saying it.
Yeah.
That's like when you're working with Kent or Scott, it's like the same thing. Like
that's awesome.
You work with, like, I've got a chance to work with so many different keys and rigging keys that like, I feel fortunate because I've only had like maybe one poor experience, but like you sit there and think about all the knowledge that Landon has built, all the knowledge that Scott has owning Sin Moves and camera movement and things like that. And you have to think like none of this was learned in school. This was all on the job. This was all like, because you had a crazy DP that wanted to do a crazy maneuver. Landon, he has a single fix for everything. Yeah, that equals a lot of gear, and Landon has a lot of gear. But I guarantee you, whatever crazy idea that some DP has or some director has, they're going to have a fix for that.
We're in the business of solving problems.
When you go when you go into the real world and you're in a construction site, it's amazing how much gets pawned off, or like, like, because I spend half my life in the real world doing construction stuff for, building data plants and data centers and stuff like that. So like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, this construction company needs a Landon. This construction company needs a Scott. This construction company needs a Kent.
They need like a grip is what they need. That's it's incredible how many things get pawned off to us, but because that's what we do, we just accept it.
Yeah.
That somebody doesn't know how to do something, or they want to do something and it really seems like it should be somebody else, but
it's hard
because they ask me who my plexiglass supplier is or whatever. And then I, being the best boy grip that would love to make everybody happy, it's like, hey man, I'll just get it. I'll get it. I'll carry it. We'll cut it. We'll put it wherever you need it to go.
Yeah.
And you can see like the stress that was on them of like, I don't know where to get this stuff from. I don't know what we need. And it's just like, yeah, man, I've done it before. And if I haven't done, I can figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it too is it comes down to like, there's a lot of jobs where if something just doesn't get done, it doesn't get done.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Eventually, maybe someone will come around to fixing it, whether it's construction, probably not so much because the house has got to stay up. But, in our industry, it has to get done.
Not
Yeah.
not doing things or forgetting about something can literally cost you millions of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
Like it's got to
It
get
has to be
done.
done.
It falls in this trench of, someone's
are-
got to do it. It's got
there
to
are
happen.
some things
And a
that
lot
are-
of the time, it comes down to us.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not to say that other people don't do things as well, but it's just like
construction, man. They're incredible. The things they do.
if something is between departments and it's like, okay, whose responsibility should it be? Well, we're already going to do something else with it. I might
Halfway
as
there
well.
anyway.
Yeah. I mean, like, I guess we can stop talking about grips and go back to podcast, but because like, dude, I don't mean the like slob knob on grips, but we are a special type of people. And I feel like, we're also the unsung heroes. And for all you rigging Americans out there or rigging, whatever, like we call our grips here, there's a certain group of people, rigging Americans, like we call them that, but, man, it's the group of people I have such a high respect for and a love for, and we don't see them all the time. But when you fall off a film and the film's over, that's not the last time you're going to see them. The next time you see these people, you pick up where you left off, and it's like, dude, I love you, bro. I'll do whatever you need, whatever. And you guys are bringing that out of me right now. I wanted to ask you about your podcast.
I know we keep
I know we
grip
keep
stuff.
circling right back around. But like you said, it's the relationships that you build.
Yeah.
It helps you do those jobs.
What a peak.
Go for it.
It makes it even better. Like the story I told earlier about shifting the days and having to go outside from our inside set. And it's like, you shout out Joe Allegro from ProCam is like,
Yeah.
if I didn't have a relationship with him, if I hadn't built that, then he probably doesn't answer my phone call at 5:50 before he walks out the door at 6:00. Because he knows, based on the fact that I'm calling him and we're shooting something right now, that I'm about to ask him for something dumb if I'm calling him 10 minutes before he's supposed to close.
Yeah.
It's and he's got guys that are in Chicago. He's got guys that are in California. He has no one in Atlanta to do anything today. And I ask him, hey man, like what can you get me?
Yeah.
And he says, I can load the 23 by myself.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can load by myself. And I said, great. Can you be here in an hour?
We'll take it. We don't mind if you add 50%.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, hey, you can charge whatever you want to charge. Just get here. I need something to be able to use for these shots. And we used him and it was great. But like, if I give up that relationship, if I don't bring him out, if I don't use his equipment, then maybe I call somebody and nothing happens and I can't get the equipment that I need or that I want.
But that's another thing that like that you have to deal with. That's that whole like talking and having relationships with other people. So like with Joe, you have to have a relationship with him where you use his equipment enough that he will answer your phone call.
Sure.
And if you're going to be calling Scott or someone from Sin Moves, you have to have a relationship with them enough for them to pick up the phone. So when you're keying, you're really relying on your best boy to have that relationship, because
it is definitely something you should look for.
Yeah. Because when you are going to need something, and when I say when the production needs something, there's a way to be a hero and a way to be a zero. And the fastest way to being a hero is having relationships with all your suppliers and having a good relationship. If you kind of like, I don't know, only have one source of like, if someone only work with Sin Moves, Joe's never going to like come and help you out. But it's like throwing the bone, right? Like everyone has to, like everyone's eating the same ham. Everyone's going to eat it. So you have to share it with everybody. And that's being a best boy too. You understand like, oh man, I have like 34 plus ones this month. So
It's
who do I give it to?
it's a lot to keep track of, and especially who do I give it to? You know, when we shot so Tell Me Lies that we came back from the strike. What was it we shot?
Oh,
right after
dude,
the
when I had
strike?
we each had 8 grips.
Yeah, but I
three.
just mean like we came when
Plus
we
8.
came right off the strike into Tell Me Lies, and I did need a lot of people.
It was,
You know,
it was
we were
insane.
doing all kind of second units. I think one day I had just on first unit, I think I had 36 grips, 36 or 38 grips. That's not including the rigging grips that were there that day. That's not
That's
including
on location grips. Yeah.
on location. That's not including all of the special
Plus
equipment that we had.
Day
I-
exterior.
I think we had 3 lulls and 5 different Condor rigs, 2 units in the same place moving around. It was an insane day. But coming off of the strike, it's like I'm choosing people to come in, but on days that I don't have 40 grips, on days that I have 5, I have to choose based on my relationships who's got
Yeah.
a job. You know,
Yeah.
we've just been on strike for 6 months, and it's like I'm trying to get as many people as many days as I can,
Yeah.
and shifting them out so that, you know, maybe somebody gets 2 days, and somebody that's got a wife and kids maybe gets 3 days, and you know, it's there's a lot more that goes into it than people think.
Yeah.
But you know, you do get those chances to be not only you know, the hero for people that haven't
Yeah.
been working in 6 months, but you also get the chance, like you said, for the production itself. We shot a football show, hasn't come out yet, but we wanted a very specific piece of equipment that you would see on a football field for the
So bummed we
camera.
didn't get the
And
man.
there are only has nothing to do with the story. An Olympia is what they use,
Mhm.
the vehicle that drives back and forth on the sidelines. That is
Okay.
like a pedestal that you would have the camera on, and
Yeah.
it goes back and forth the sideline. We're trying to get one. Unfortunately, it was football season, and there are only a certain number of them, and they are all leased out to different stadiums. So it was impossible to get one, and they wanted one really bad. So I did my best to look around, and they were all spoken for. But we found a stage crane that's built on the exact same platform and even has the mounting holes for all of the pads. So with relationships at Chapman Leonard, I was able to get hold of one of those
Yeah.
and get them to send the pads and all of the colorful things that go on the Olympia and kit out this Zeus crane with all of that stuff. So we locked it off. And yeah, if you're not somebody that does exactly what we do,
Yeah.
you would have no idea
No
that it was
idea.
anything different than exactly what you wanted. And it had all the pads and everything. It looked exactly like it.
That's
And
awesome.
it's one of those things that you wheel that thing out and everybody gets
That's a
excited
hero
about
moment
it. And
for
it's
the
like,
yeah.
it makes you feel good.
For the folks that don't know about movie industry, that's a hero moment. You
Save the
created
day.
something out of nothing. That was something. So like you're trying to mimic, you're trying to fake it, you're trying to make it believable for the story. That's, you know, grips do that, you know, along with scenic and a bunch of other departments, but grip wins.
Grip
That was
wins.
That was
and
such a fun show too.
that was the most fun show I've ever
That was one of
done.
those shows. Like I was at a point where I was starting to get pretty burnt out doing this job. Like this is a hard job.
Yeah.
We've done it a long time. It's tough. You're out in the weather. You're out in the heat. You get burnt out. Those are those jobs. I wish we could say what it was. That was that job that like brought the
I don't
fun
think we can
back.
talk about stuff on it, but you can certainly say this is the
Yeah.
show that we have shot,
Yeah.
and it was the most fun we've ever had, and I think it's going to be amazing,
be
and it should
incredible.
come out in the fall, and
Look it up and watch it.
it'll be awesome.
And look at the
please
credits,
do.
folks. Look at the credits because Payne and Tavyn will be there.
It'll be
that
awesome.
was the most fun I'd had on a show in years.
That's one of
if
those that
ever.
a lot of people know it exists already because we went and shot during a University of Georgia football game at,
Sure.
got to live,
at
live
halftime.
a fucking dream.
was-
dude.
Awesome. It
That-
was highlight of my career.
That's awesome. That's cool. Like we need to hear about these highlights because like I really want to talk about your like this possible podcast that you're doing. But at the same time, like, dude, we are living in reality right now where the film industry is in a kind of like this like unstable
Yeah.
position where, when you look at the independent side and commercial side, it seems like that might the commercial side seems like it's like slowed down, but still people are staying busy. The independent side, I think, will always be busy because an artist is always going to make, from its muse what it wants to create.
Yeah. I mean, there's
So-
always going to be a little something.
Yeah.
It's never going to be what it was
Yeah.
post pandemic. That was,
Yeah. Post pandemic, everyone was playing
oh
catch
my
up.
God.
But like even before the pandemic, I mean, like 2017 was a lull. It wasn't great for everybody. 2018 was kind of a pick me up. 2019 was all right. 2020 happened, and that was the COVID. But where so I'm from Pittsburgh, and I'm from the Pittsburgh film industry. I did my first I guess 8 years or 9 years there, and we are so used in Pittsburgh. We are so used to the roller coaster ride. The ebb and flow of like work and no work, where so many people here in Atlanta, I feel like, are so new and they never had that lull like we have now. Like people from North, South Carolina, they know about it. New York know about it. California, Texas, that everybody knows about the breaks in between. They know pilot season. They know when things are going to be picking up. Like we kind of have this idea of like, yeah, I'll probably get a job in April, or I'll probably get a job in June, because that's just like the way things start. But I notice with so many new people in the film industry that have been doing it for the past maybe 6 years, they have this like preconceived notion like film industry is dead. And I don't think the film industry is dead. AI has everybody kind of like scared about film industry. What's going to happen with AI? I don't think AI is anywhere near where it needs to be in order to like really like make like something that we could sit there and watch, like,
Yeah.
so we still have, I think, 10, 15 years before we're watching full AI films. So
maybe I'm
Somebody
biased.
will be. Won't be me.
Well,
That's the thing is we're never going to stop people from watching them. However, I think I would feel comfortable saying that the general populace isn't going to go sit down and watch an AI movie.
yeah,
Hey, you go watch a movie for story, you go watch a movie for the actors,
yeah,
or in very rare cases, you like the director, you like the DP.
yeah. I mean, like, definitely.
I say rare, but
I think that's
people are
why
like, "Oh, that's my favorite
people
director, I'm gonna
don't
watch it."
realize it. Yeah, when they're watching a Christopher Nolan movie, if they're watching Dunkirk, or if they're whatever they're watching,
Yeah.
they're captivated in the story. They're watching it because the director made it that way.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that's such a yes, we're years away from it being able to have that sort of feeling brought in by AI. There's just there's so many things that are you can't really describe as to why. But I'm not gonna go watch a movie by AI. I don't know who's in it. I don't know what the fuck it's about. And
Yeah.
I know it was made by a computer.
Yeah, it's a
It's like,
cartoon. Like I like cartoons, but I don't like all cartoons.
yeah,
It's
like
also taking work away from people that I like. And
yeah,
I
it's only
don't
destructive.
want to mention names. There's a large company that's based in Atlanta that did some Christmas commercials when all of my friends are out of work. Did some Christmas commercials that are all AI, and they look like
this is their
hot
home.
garbage. And there's people in their city that are dying for work, and they're out here, spending a couple bucks on a subscription to a service, making some slop and throwing it on TV in front of millions of people when I got people out of work.
Yeah. What's your opinion? Because like, for instance, like I equate this to let's go back in time. Ready? Let's go in the time machine, as they say. And you hit up I forget the guy's name. And for folks that are listening to it, I feel like music was the first to get hit with a big corporate contracts, and the way music was going to be pushed onto people. So you had Clear Channel making contracts with all the big heavy hitters for the music world, and certain bands kind of got ignored and big pop stars started to come out. The same thing happened with movies. There was big actors and some dude was like, "Hey man, I computed a couple things and I used my, my T7 calculator and I think that if we have Tom Cruise in a space movie with a co-star of whatever, we'll be able to gross $4 billion." It's like,
Oh, I mean, it's
like
the Moneyball situation.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's happening, and art will come back eventually, but AI is all that Moneyball scenario.
Yeah,
Sure. I don't know. I hesitate to think it's one of those things that we all thought it would come for like production plants and stuff, that it wouldn't come for the creatives, which is clearly the opposite. It's much harder to
yeah, you'd hope it would come from the
manipulate
media
things in
labor.
the real world than it is to just create some fake images.
Yeah.
It just seems strange.
Yeah. And this is why I think like your podcast, whatever you do for your podcast, I think it's important that all of us film people, whether if you're a teamster like me who used to be a grip, or if you were a props person or whatever, we need to like actually start infiltrating these outlets like YouTube or whatever, because I'm watching a lot of YouTubers talk about the film industry, and these YouTubers are people that are supposed to be in the film industry.
Mhm.
And I feel like a lot of things are being said that technically aren't true. Like there's a YouTube channel that I'm not going to name the YouTube channel, but they were talking about how the demise of the film industry, and they're like, basically there's no work. And this is like in London. And this is like a podcast. This is like a YouTube that came out like literally like 4 or 5 days ago.
All the work's going to the UK right now.
Yeah, like how busy
Copy,
were
you can't get a job.
Yeah, how busy were
You can't get on one of the 7 Marvel shows that's taking their stuff overseas.
Yeah, like, and so it's like where in the United States, where Canada is getting like, I don't know, a certain percentage, and London is getting a certain percentage, Spain, like all these other places over the pond are getting a certain percentage of the films. It's like when we're thinking of what's happening in the film industry, I feel like that we need to be transparent about what's actually going on, and we need to talk about it. We need YouTube channels and podcasts to do that.
I'm kind of the mind. It's unfortunate, but that we're kind of seeing the happenings of a big purge.
You think so?
I think that there was such a massive film boom. There was so much work. There was so much content coming out.
There was such a need for content.
There was such a need for content, 'cause we
Yeah.
hadn't had it for 2 years, 3 years, whatever.
Yeah.
That all of these people came in, and a lot of the people we're seeing now, they're saying there is no work. The industry's dead. We're all fucked. Oops, all AI. Are a lot of your frustrated individuals that, it's mean to say, but either aren't good enough to continue working or suck too much to have out with you.
Yeah,
We
like they're
just talked about
maybe
how it's a personality.
Yeah, the
thing.
personality thing is where
It's
it
like-
really runs.
It's
I mean-
also when you have such a need, when you have such demand for the content, you can start branching out and trying all these different things. Now,
Yeah.
we got some cool stuff out of that 2021 boom,
Oh yeah,
but we also got a lot of duds.
Yeah.
got a lot of hot
Spending-
garbage.
A lot of big name companies were spending a lot of big money on flops.
Yeah.
And you get out there and you see how things happen, and you're not shocked when a couple of years later it's like, hey, all those guys that were making movies that always make money, let's have those guys come in and keep doing stuff
Yeah.
instead of just giving people the reins to stuff that they might not have earned the reins to get to.
Yeah, like I feel like the opinionated YouTuber that basically dogs pretty much anything that comes out. And I feel like so we talked about this with Mark on the podcast, because like I just it's 2 years ago. So I finished working on Electric State like 2 years ago, and it just came out last February after post and everything. And I feel like I had enough distance away from the filming aspect, I was able to enjoy the film. And it became a question of like, how close can you be before you start not enjoying the film? Because like when I listen to other people talk about Ozark, and I'm saying this because you were on Ozark, people love Ozark.
Yeah.
It's like well written, well shot. It's
Great
like
people on that show.
what
I
other
think
yeah.
For us,
I wasn't
think it comes
working
down
with
to
you
our-
guys, but I was on the rigging side for, I guess.
That's
it was
right.
probably
Were
season
you
2
with
and
Austin?
season 3. Yeah. Austin and Pete out there.
Dude, I'm so okay. You were okay. Okay, that's where I know you from. Because when you first came to the house, I was like, I know this person.
Did you rig the ferry out there? When they brought that
The rock band?
the boat? Yeah, the
season 3?
concert or whatever that was.
Yeah, I helped Austin rig that. Yeah, with like
feel like-
Rock and
I feel
everybody.
like we have
and
worked
Austin
together
and-
then.
Yes.
You were definitely out there.
Yeah. Because like when you first came here, I was like, I know this guy, but whatever, I don't know him. Because like,
We get that a lot.
yeah, no matter what in the film industry, once again, you work with somebody so much, you work with them so long, you forget them. It's like strange. But anyway, like
Dakota.
Yeah.
Dakota. Sorry, Dakota.
Dakota.
One of our core guys.
Man.
He worked with us. We joke about it all the
Is he
time.
like a blondish hair with longer hair?
No, he's
No. Big
shorter
red
guy,
beard.
big red beard.
Okay.
He
Just the sweetest guy.
the day that I needed 40 something people, I had run out of people to call, talking to everybody, people were working. And then I had out the 30 guys that I normally have
Harry,
out.
I got to do this because somebody out there, if they listen to it, you didn't call me.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I was
No.
going through my whole phone. Like I had texted everybody, but this was back, it was a little bit further away from the shutdown. So people
Yeah.
were working again, but I had, there were probably 14 or 15 rigging grips out there
Yeah.
as well as us and 40 of my guys. And I've exhausted my contacts list. I've gone through the Facebook page and I'm sitting there thinking, like racking my brain for anyone that I've ever worked with. And I remembered somebody that worked on a Dolly Parton movie with us, and I didn't have his contact information. Tavyn didn't have his contact information. I'm still trying to remember his name. I was like, I think it was Dakota. Anyway, I searched him on Instagram and found him on Instagram and
That's
sent him an
hilarious.
Instagram DM
That
that was
is
like,
so
hey,
funny.
dude, do you want to work on Wednesday or whatever it was?
He was
And-
like, yes.
And he was like, yeah. So he shows back up and it's like, oh man, I forgot how much
Oh my
fun this
God.
guy is. And now he's core with us and works all the time.
That is awesome. When you were a +6 and then you turn into a core 4 months later,
That's the best.
you know that you're not great at your job,
He was,
but you are great to be around.
I mean, it's got to say something for him going from like the 47th day player or whatever
Our
to being
number one
core.
guy.
Like,
yeah. So shout out to Dakota with, being who you are. You must be an awesome dude. So.
Oh, he's terrific.
He's great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He's great.
Wouldn't do a job without him. It was just so funny, man. It's like,
So yeah, we roast him all the time
All the
about
time.
like, they
As you
when they
should.
bring like a food truck to set or whatever, you'll like list off everybody but him and be like, oh, what do you guys want? I'll get you something.
Dude, don't do that to the poor kid. Don't do that.
yeah, we're giving him a complex.
That's a real thing too, because like every person in the film industry has a, like, I don't know if a dude likes me. He hires me, but I don't know if he likes me. Like
really do.
that happens. Like, so like
do.
that is a real thing. Cause like one thing that the film industry people kind of learn to do is navigate their depression. And
Comment down below if you think I don't like you. I just hire you because I need bodies.
yeah. Cause like,
we'll confirm it.
yeah, you know what?
And everyone that I know should be commenting right now.
And well, you have to understand too, like needing a body, you still have that, like, I don't like that guy. I'm not
Oh,
gonna
for
hire him.
sure.
Oh,
For
man.
sure.
And it's not because the dude sucks or it's just like, you're like, I don't want to hear about whatever
Well,
he has to
I was
say.
just saying about earlier about like the big, like a purge coming in. It's like,
Yeah.
man, like if you suck so much to be around, I don't even want you around to move sandbags.
It's like
for
Yeah.
me.
If you were barely working
Yeah, and-
when we were getting slammed in 2021
Yeah.
and now you're still complaining about
Take a
it.
look inside, a little introspection.
There's
Come
like,
on.
there's like ways around it. If the person, like, for instance, like if you can't learn from the person, you're not going to bring them around. If you don't like the person, you're not going to bring them around. So like you could be very, very good. If you don't pass that airport test that people talk about, you're just not going to get on any kind of crew.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why I'm not getting hired anymore. Holy crap, guys. I just got the bubble is bursting for me right
Am
now.
I the problem?
Yeah. Like, holy crap.
No, there's, and I don't mean it to sound like a jerk, but there's certainly,
No,
there's
dude.
certainly a number of people in my phone that if you search DNH,
Yeah.
it's I may have DNH next to your name, which is do not hire.
Yeah.
Which means not necessarily that you're bad at gripping. You could be one of the better grips in town, but
You don't work with my crew.
you don't work with me.
Yeah. That's one of the things too. Like, can you imagine being like some kind of banker listening to this podcast and be like, dude, I got Leonard. Leonard is that guy that we don't want to hire. I don't know, man. Like, dude, let's talk about your podcast a little bit because
Hell
like
yeah.
I could,
There's no way that
film industry can talk about film industry all day long, and you guys have already turned the channel.
We're over here trying to get sued on our NDAs. Let's talk about the podcast.
Yeah, let's
please.
talk about
Can we
the
please talk about
podcast.
the podcast?
I mean, like so.
I don't have the
Tavyn,
money to get fined right now.
you have a basement. It's getting built out. You guys are planning certain things. At what time are you going to stop planning and start doing?
That's a great question.
Bitch, if you would ever fucking, I've given up asking this motherfucker to come help me work on the basement. He helped me put up 4 sheets of drywall.
And those are the best ones.
They are still up.
Dude,
Have the rest fallen down? Are we starting over?
be happy you have someone to help you put 4 sheets of drywall up.
Yeah, he's come over and put up a couple
just
sheets
be
with
happy?
me.
Yeah.
And then Rashid also, shout out to Rashid, came over and helped me do a whole bunch of work and some mudding.
Yeah. Mudding sucks. So Rashid, if you did any mudding,
sucks, bro.
dude, props to you for helping him out.
Yeah, mudding is the worst. But it's been a lot of work. And
I haven't helped you at all. Tell that to the cutoff tool that has my name on it.
Oh my god,
Dude,
I need to switch the blade on that.
lending tools out counts as helping.
Exactly.
That tool has
Exactly. It's
awesome.
awesome.
If you need
I
tools,
decided I was going to do it all myself.
If you need anything, I have a trailer out there full of tools.
It's one of those things. It's like
It's
I've
just a
done little
random
bits of it
tool.
all throughout my whole life. Like, my dad's Coast Guard, so we moved around a whole bunch. So we renovated every house I ever lived in. So I learned bits and pieces of a whole bunch of stuff. But when you're down in your basement, and it's like, okay, cool. I need to wire, plumb, install walls, do the floor, drywall, mud, all of it alone. It's like, oh, where do I start? So fortunately, I had my dad, who was a electrician for the helicopters in the Coast Guard. He came when my folks were down. He's like, all right, I'm going to show you how to do this. So he showed me how to do it. Now I have a fully wired basement.
You know what's fucked up? Or excuse my language. You know what's messed up? If you were on a job and somebody asked you to do this stuff that you want to do for your own basement, you would know how to do it at work, but because it's at your house, you're like, like I don't know. I don't know if that's
So
true.
I want to do it for you. It's fine for me.
Yeah, but like,
If I have to stare at it forever, do I want me to do it?
everything works and nothing's burned down or leaked yet.
well, that's awesome.
But so I did all the plumbing. My dad helped me with the installing the sump pump to the outgoing sewage, which is great because I was like, that was the one thing that was really stopping me. So
Did you have to cut
do this.
concrete and put it in the ground, or
No, so that everything was. It's the reason I didn't have to get permits because everything was technically already plumbed. I just connected everything,
oh, sweet.
which is great. The only things that I added were into existing water lines. So I re-added for the toilet, the sink, the shower, all of that. Ran all the plumbing. I've learned how to plumb.
So this is a full studio. This is like full.
Yes.
Okay.
So I've been a lot of my energy's been going into completing the bathroom, and I've gotten a couple of hangups with installing the shower and some other things that I've had to just set
The
aside.
shower's not for the podcast.
It could be. You have a guest.
What? Why?
Wait, shit! I forgot it was the nude cast. It is. For
Well,
the
not only
podcast.
that, dude. Like,
Then why'd I cut a hole from the podcast space into the shower?
That's the Glory Hole podcast.
oh my.
It's a little high.
Can I come on your podcast? So, but yeah, I mean, like with your podcast, I mean, like all of that stuff is actually for your pod. I mean, if you have a guest that's coming in from New York and you're here in Georgia,
Yeah.
I mean, you need a place for them to be comfortable, for them to be ready to take a shower, shit, shave, whatever they need to, so they could be ready. It's literally like one thing I noticed that with this podcast, my wife is amazing at just
I met her
finances.
downstairs earlier, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Also, your son says he loves you.
Oh, I love him too.
He thought it was you coming out of the bathroom.
You should have cursed at him immediately.
You should have hit him with the "love you too."
Go put him in a headlock.
He would. Well, Ethan is Ethan is definitely a. Yeah, he could put you in. He can get you in something. Dylan, he might bite the shit out of you, but if you cursed at him, they would be like, "Screw you." But that's cool that you met them. I didn't realize they were here already.
Somebody closed the door earlier. That's the only reason I know.
Okay, so somebody opened it and closed it. See, that's the thing about having the podcast in your house, guys, that when you have a family and you have people that live with you, they're going to open and close the door. They're going to open and close the garage door, and they're going to make noise.
The garage door would probably be bad from here.
Yeah. Well, they know not to open the garage door, so I didn't hear it. You would have felt this table go. But like, yeah, like, so like to get back to your podcast, because I really want to talk about your podcast, because number one is like when you guys decide to stop planning and actually just like go ahead and put it out. Like, I know that I think May 5th is when all of my podcasts that I've recorded so far are going to go live. And
nice.
I think that, you know, as a content creator, that, you know, it is what it is. It's as good as I could do at the time that I do it. So you're going to notice each podcast getting a little better. It might not be yards better or miles better,
sure,
but they're going to get better incrementally. And my wife, you know, being that she is a partner in all of this, she's like, I don't think we should post these because they're not the podcast that you want to really have out. Like, you have better expectations. So why put out something that you think is inferior to what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And I just sit there and think to myself, like, it's because I'm just putting it out. Like, this is me. Like, I can't hide. Like, if I say something wrong on a podcast, so this podcast isn't edited.
We are breaking NDAs and we will go to prison.
So this is,
we agreed no live episodes.
Yeah. So like, the only thing that's being edited is the direction of the angles that we have here.
Sure.
But so everything I say, like, dude, so on the podcast that I just had a couple of days ago, we had my son Ethan, his jiu-jitsu professor on, and he's legit as you can get. He's under Pedro Sawyer or Sauer, however you say his name. Excuse the jiu-jitsu knowledge, guys. I'm not really hip to the jiu-jitsu knowledge, but so he's a legit coach. And I said some things about Ethan that I said, oh, he wasn't timid, but he kind of wasn't outgoing. And my wife was like, he was outgoing. Why would you say that? And it's just like, I don't know. Like, I just remember him being scared to go to the class. So I wanted to say he wasn't outgoing because he was afraid to go to the class. And now he'll go anywhere and he doesn't have that problem anymore. And it became a thing where it's like, I don't know if I want to post this or not. And I made a decision that, like, I'm going to screw up so much during these podcasts. I'm going to say the wrong thing. I'm going to say gaffer when I mean key grip. I'm going to say key grip when I mean gaffer. Like, I'm going to say all the wrong stuff. And no matter what I say, whether if it's wrong or right, I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to let everybody see it, because I'm not perfect. And
oh yeah,
I feel like doing this podcast is, you know, kind of like it's a window into my life and to people I surround myself with in my life. And then my wife goes, but you are starting a business that is a production business for podcasts. And it's just like, I mean, I am, but these people have to understand I started from somewhere, you know, like we were looking at websites. And the reason why because like you guys are very talented in film and commercials and basically directing, writing. You guys are very talented.
Thank you.
So I feel like, you know, like there has to be some earnest, some honest, like content where you don't have to be perfect. And I think that's podcasting is something that you don't have to be perfect in. And so that's why I'm like really interested in like how you guys are handling your idea, because your idea will be, because I mean, due to your past, like your idea will be
informed by
but
what we do.
Yeah, we have to get away from talking about the build process. I can talk about not finishing my basement all day.
I could also talk about
It's a point of contention on our crew. We do have a plan for the podcast and how the style that we want to do it in, and what it will be about. And it's more of a creation based entertainment podcast.
We felt like our strengths were in improving, coming from our particular brand of comedy, and how he and I can just talk. And you've already heard our tangents, and anybody else who's listening has heard our ability to just turn into a story, and then all of a sudden you forget whatever we were talking about before. But we had a problem when we were trying to be topical, when we were trying to do the first couple that we recorded that was
just didn't feel right.
Yeah, it was like, okay, well,
it was too focused.
2 weeks from now, none of this stuff's gonna matter. We've already talked about
the new Superman movie, and then once you've talked about it, it's past.
It's already happened.
Like no one's gonna come back and watch that episode again.
Yeah. Well, if we talk about,
hold on, that might not be true, because like me, if I caught your episode and you were talking about something that was any bit interesting to me, I'm going to tell a friend, like, go check that out.
But it's more of like
it was less directed than a Superman thing. It was more like us just talking about what had happened in tech that week, or what had happened in games that week,
current entertainment news.
Yeah, it just felt, even when we were doing it, it felt too directed for us, because we run off improv.
Yeah.
Not to say that we don't do that with our projects, can be focused.
Yes.
But the way we talk to each other is very unfocused. And I think it's for the better, especially creatively, because we just say whatever it is, and then we go down a rabbit hole. And I think the first few tests that we didn't feel right, because it was like, why would anybody go back to listen to this? 6 months from now, nobody's going to care what the release date for the next Nintendo was.
If there's a percentage of drama to it, they will. One of the ideas I had for a podcast, and I still have this idea, and I'm going to give it away, because like, who cares? Like, screw it, like whatever. Nobody's really doing this right now. And I think it needs to be done, but I am trying to find people that will come as a round table, and I want to talk to people who are informed on the different content that's being produced on the different platforms. And for instance, like, everybody knows all the big players of YouTube. Nobody really knows the big players of Rumble or the other outlets that are out there. And I want to talk about people who are doing certain things, kind of like an Entertainment Tonight about YouTube, because nobody's doing it right now. And it's an Entertainment Tonight kind of like outlook on what's hot right now, because I look at so many different things on YouTube and Rumble and all these other platforms where I will watch what they call welding porn. And it's like a guy who brazes brass onto stainless steel, or, like that kind of thing. And then I'll watch stuff too that talks about like whatever Cletus is doing for his racetrack in Florida, and whatever it is. Like, I want to know, like, without having to scour YouTube and looking through all my subscriptions, like, what should I be paying attention to? If there was somebody out there saying, hey, look, XYZ is doing this thing right now, and it's pretty cool, you should check out his video on whatever it might be, I think people would be able, like, tune in just to that, just to see what video to watch next, because the algorithms are destroying my viewing pleasure.
Oh yeah.
So I feel like
you have to go through and purge every now and then. Go through and not interested, because it gets so out of whack that it's like, hey man, I don't know what part of this formula thinks that I like this because I like that over there, but you're wrong.
Yeah. And I think the algorithm is skewed a little bit too, because like I'll watch a video let's say I'll watch someone refurbishing a drill from the 1940s, and then I'll watch something like Officer Tatum or whatever. I don't know if you know what that YouTube channel is. I'll watch like Officer Tatum, just his viewpoint, because there's a hot, what do they call that? A clickbait. There's like clickbait. So I click on it just to see what the heck just happened or whatever's going on. If I, am interested in current event, like I would say, hey man, you don't need to go on this channel on this video. It's kind of a clickbaity thing, and it's my opinion, but you don't need to watch that. But if you are a fan of that guy, you should watch his episode on this. And like that way you can have like some cohesive, like,
Almost like a Reader's Digest of
like I said, the Entertainment Tonight of like what's like cool, like, and what's to be listened to, because there's so much stuff I get like in my YouTube feed. There is things that are popping up from 10 years ago, and it's just like, I've watched this like before. Why does YouTube continue to like show me things that either I've already viewed before 3 or 4 times, or why is the algorithm showing me this again? And I think algorithms are destroying things right now.
We had, like I said, ours specifically, in an attempt not to be clickbaity or this kind of what's hot, let's talk about the current event of whatever. I think this podcast has its shtick of like, people will go back and listen to it because of the people you have on. If they want to listen to us talk about film stuff all day,
we'll
do that. If they want to listen to martial arts, they'll go back and listen to the last episode.
Yeah.
Ours just didn't feel like it had that thing that was like, why would you listen to mine when you could listen to literally any of the other ones that already has a million?
I don't know. This is what I think. This is because I feel the same way. Maybe it's because it's your project and you're trying to validate it in your own sense.
Yeah.
And because
we wanted to make something that it felt like us, and it was things that we enjoyed. So we finally did settle on, I shouldn't say settle. We came to a really good idea.
We came to a really good idea, and then painstakingly went through it to make sure that it was something interesting.
I mean, I feel like I could listen. I mean, this is maybe up my alley of entertainment, but I could say that I could listen to you guys bullshit with each other.
That's what it's going to be.
That's a lot of what we're banking on.
So a lot of what ours is.
But that's once again, that I feel like people will find value in that, because dude, like, people are sick of taking things so serious. I don't care if you're conservative or liberal or whatever the spectrum or whatever. People are sick of the seriousness of everything, and that's why I think comedy is coming back to life again. And I think that if you guys are able to produce just like, I don't know, because like beyond the podcast, these dudes are their interjections with each other and the way they talk to one another, it's funny and it's interesting, and I want to hang out with them more. Like, so therefore, like, I think that will work for you guys because you are kind of just fun to be around. You guys have a lot of experience in a lot of different things where, like, if it's film oriented, your non-film friends are going to be like, I'm interested in that because I like film.
Exactly. And that's kind of what we took from after we tried those 3. We didn't really like them. We went back to the drawing board and came up with this. And it's like, the expression, write what you know, is a good thing. So we went through and we're like, well, we don't really want to have a specifically film podcast because we do it all day long.
Yeah.
We don't, this is fun and getting to talk about it. But I think for us, it's like, bro, we're talking about it for 16 hours, talk about something else. So instead we decided that it would be cool if we used our improvisational skills to craft things, which we have already done in the first place. If you heard him say something when we were talking about Kenny earlier, he said something about sitting at the hand of the all grip. Well, we were sitting there on set on this show that we did that was, like you said, there are grip killer shows where every day is a peel and you walk in the door and fall straight into the bed and wake up the next day, and you do that for months and you feel like you have no life. Then there are shows that they're not really asking for a whole lot, and you spend a lot of the shows sitting on your butt doing nothing. We did one of those shows where we sat on our butts for a month and barely did anything because they didn't want to do anything. Everything was handheld, everything was natural light, and it was one of those shows where you sit there. Well, we came up with this whole mythology that happens when you're a grip and you die. You go to the big 250 in the sky, and you
Man,
meet the
1000
all
H.
grip, and just like a whole Saint Peter at the gates is the bestest boy. And you go to heaven to see the bestest boy, and the bestest boy lets you in if you've been good on the crew. And it was a whole thing. We went through a whole thing. And then we went through a whole thing where we made everybody like crappy superhero versions of themselves. It was too much. We had way too much free time on our hands.
But that's awesome.
It was awesome, and people thought it was funny, and we were talking about it.
And it was our interjecting and bullshit and our back and forth and our banter and our improvisational play.
And it was just
well, what if we took that? We put
why
that
isn't
in a
this
direction.
what it is?
Let's point that at something.
Can I give you advice as a listener?
Sure.
So, as a listener, I really love when the people who are running the podcast, when they are introducing people into the podcast, they're almost like characters that I can learn about and maybe get to know. And I feel like now that I have you guys on here, I'm going to off camera beg the shit out of you to come back again. And because like, I feel like that you should stay away from one and dones unless it's really needs to be that.
Mm-hmm.
And the more times that you have somebody on, a lot of people think, oh, we done this again, or we did that again. I feel like, no, you're building a relationship with your listener, and these are the characters that are in our life. And that's why grips really like gripping, is because we're a storyline that we're living it, and we have all these different characters.
Oh yeah.
So
we got a project for that too.
We got a project for that too. That was one of the
yeah.
That's another one of those that'll come down the pipeline eventually.
Well,
we got
yeah.
some.
So maybe it's not advice. Maybe you know about this already then. But
that's great.
Like that's what I'm hoping to have
because
here.
It is validating for a project that we have already been considering through a different means of media.
Yes.
The podcast, what we finally focused it in on was what we know. So, what do we know? Entertainment. Well, you don't really want to do the kind of let's talk about entertainment this week kind of deal.
Yeah.
It was, okay, let's improv something. So we decided on sort of like
we're making shit up all
the time. All right, well, let's put some ideas, put some topics in a bucket, and let's pick out of it. And that's what our podcast is going to be. We're going to make something that week, and whether it be a TV show or a movie or whatever, we have a bucket, or they're going to be more fun when we do it. But you'll pull it out, and we may pull out TV or movie or
comic,
so
or
we'll
whatever.
Have a series of these
and it's some kind of
bins.
Some kind of media type,
Yeah.
something that you would tell a story in that medium. And we pull one of those, and then we have a prompt bucket, and the prompt bucket has hundreds of prompts in it. I mean, it ranges all the way from.
We've agreed we have to have 2 prompts, and whatever we make has to be about those.
So you may,
things.
for instance, we would pull movie, and then you pull a genre, and we would pull. Our first attempt at it when we were pulling them was we pulled TV, we pulled Western. So, okay, we're going to make a TV show that's a Western. And we pulled, I don't remember what one of the other ones we pulled, but the first prompt that we pulled was kaiju,
which
is like Pacific Rim, like giant
Godzilla.
Monsters. And it's like, okay.
It was kaiju and kids on bikes.
Kids on Bikes is the other one. So it's like,
it's basically 8 millimeter, or was that Super 8? I worked on that.
But West,
that's awesome.
Really?
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was rigging electric.
God.
How do you inject cowboys into that and make it feel like a Western movie? Okay, well, that's what our first little like test was, just between the two of us, is like, all right, well, let's build a TV show around
start to finish.
Start to finish. So it's an hour,
plot.
You make the characters, and we with different media types. So like we have superheroes in comics, so we would make a superhero, or we would make where they came from.
Ultimately building a universe that is within our
you're
show.
You're allowing the deck of cards to control.
And it's up to our improvisational creative skill to make it fun to listen to, but also to create something new.
So you guys would appreciate the Joe Rogan and the Robert Rodriguez, or is that his name? Robert?
Yeah, Robert.
Robert. Yeah. He was in the Joe Rogan podcast. Guys, check it out if you didn't already. Robert Rodriguez was holding a deck of cards, and he was basically saying the same thing that you guys are doing.
Oh, really?
I read, what's his book? Rebel Without a Cause, I think was his book. Read that way long time ago when I was getting into film. It seemed like an interesting thing for us because as much as we love direction, we also love not having a direction.
Yeah.
And that gives us just enough to be like, okay, here's what we're going to do today. But it also leaves the whole thing open to interpretation for us to riff and to come up with stupid shit and funny names and build this whole thing out. And so that leads into, we really wanted, like you said, you enjoy listening to us, but for us, it was really like, why would anybody go back and listen to this when the news isn't relevant anymore? For this, it was like, oh, well, if somebody just joins us in episode 30 and they listen to us make a horror movie that has to do with, whatever prompt that we pull, and they love that one. And it's like, oh, well, they drew horror in episode 10. If you really like them making horror movies, well, go back and listen to this one.
So on our episode breakdowns, it's just those things.
So
it's prompts.
It becomes this sort of timeless podcast where it's not, the movies aren't actually made. So it's not about, oh, that one came out last year. Let's go for the sequel. It's like, oh, well, if you like that one, go back and listen to this one. Or a year from now, you can just start at episode 1 and you can listen to all of them. You're not going to miss anything.
That is going to
be interesting.
Unless we do a sequel because people liked,
if people really like episode 28, or if people really like the kaijus and cowboys, then it's like, they want that one. Somebody posted in the comments. We get a whole lot of drum up about it. All right, well, we take Cowboys and Kaijus 2 and we put it in the bucket. And one day we pull that one out and we do a sequel to that.
So when is this going to drop?
That's a great question.
No, because you have my interest. And for anybody listening out there that, if I feel like anybody that likes any kind of like entertainment where they like to escape from the reality of their own life, which is you like movies, TV shows, or whatever, games, whatever. Yeah. This is a subject that is going to hit.
Like a little thing in there of stuff that we would want to add later. And one of those things was games. It's like, all right, well, we'll design a game about something if you guys want.
I think this is a bullseye idea. I think you guys need to run with it.
Thank you. Yeah. We're in the process right now. We've got a section of the basement that we're going to shoot in.
Yeah.
And I am in it's a work site right now, but I'm in the finishing processes of the design. So I've got I'm making like faux tavern walls, and like shiplap walls that we can design. It'll look really cool. So I'm in the painting process of those walls now, and I just have to paint and install them, and then really it's putting the equipment in and shooting.
Yeah.
So we're close. I hesitate to put a date on it because with work and everything like that. But
if you guys wouldn't mind, when you guys get closer to like knowing when you're going to drop it, will you guys come back on again, or would you come back on again?
Come back on anyway.
Come back on anyway. When it does drop, I can tell you, if you're listening to this and we haven't given the information yet, it'll be called Non-Essential Dialogue.
Yes,
that's the name that we were given.
That's perfect.
Speaking of our stupid shit, there was a time when we were shooting something and Tavyn was doing a second unit and I was out there with him. It was a small second unit. We were doing a lot, but it was a small second unit day. We had a particular guy with us that's very quiet, not a talkative guy. And they had put him with us on our unit. And
it was me, it was probably Chuck, and maybe one other person.
Yeah, there was one other third, and then this other guy. And you've listened to the two of us already. We never shut up on the radio. So we're talking to each other on the radio, and we have nobody to tell us to shut up. We're on our own unit. We're running it. And so, Tavyn's in set keying this second unit, and I'm outside and I'm teaching the newer guys how to do things. And we're just back and forth, back and forth. Well, at some point, this other guy just takes his walkie off, just turns his walkie off, and is just standing in set, doing his job still, but not listening to the radio. Didn't really think anything of it.
I didn't care. I was right there. It's like
Didn't really think anything of it. It was not too busy of a day. Well,
That's a Kenny move, by the way. He just turns it off.
We get done with that day's work, and we're walking back by first unit on our way out back to our cars, and Louis standing there, and Louis just cackling, just laughing at us as the two of us are walking up, and he's like, "Dude, I don't know what you guys did, but you pissed that guy off something ferocious." We're like, "What? We were just talking." He was like, he came back over to me after that, after y'all had wrapped. He chucked the walkie back at me and said, "Don't ever put me on a fucking unit with those two again. There's so much non-essential dialogue on that radio. I don't know how we get anything done." So from then on, it was like, anytime David and Payne are talking.
Wait a second. This guy's a grip?
Yeah, it's like, it's non-essential dialogue. Everything we say,
Sounds like a
non-essential
juicer
dialogue.
that took a grip job.
I know, right? But yeah, so we
Used to
got
be behind
hammered
that
with the
billboard.
name, and we were like, dude, we got to do something with the name.
Gotta do
That's too good of a name,
And
and too funny,
shared-
too ironic.
We've shared our idea, and we do the podcast at work all the time. And we've had so many people tell us
they would listen.
They
to
would
it.
listen to it. And it's like, all right, I got to get it done, but it's unfortunately it's on me while we're working to complete
Well,
construction.
Says the
Some
guy
of
that
the
just had
ideas-
a month off in Japan.
yeah.
Oh.
Well, listen, when you got the funds
Just
to go to Japan, you go to Japan. But when it comes to doing the podcast, there's not any better advice other than just like, who cares if your setup is fixed or finished? It will eventually get finished. Start it. There's a lot of successful YouTubers who said, I started with my iPhone and that's all I needed. So if you take it from that aspect, you don't need to spend the money here. And you could literally just go get a small lavalier mic and your iPhone. And with your lavalier mic setup, you have two mics in your iPhone, and you could just slowly just do the whole, just whatever you want to show. You don't even need any cuts. You just show what you want on the iPhone.
Yeah.
With the content that you guys are talking about producing, I would bet money that it would be a fun podcast and someone would tune in. Cause I don't think you need a lot of video as long as the audio is clear and as long as the content of the audio is fun.
Mm-hmm.
You could walk away from the video, clean a dish, take a shit, take a shower. As long as the audio and the content of whatever your verbiage is, as long as that's good, it's going to be a success. Because too many podcasts that I love to listen to, I could flip my phone down and go do something else and listen to it. I don't necessarily need to view it. I can listen to it. So that's why, I think that, video, YouTube, video podcasts, although they're taking off and a lot of people are doing them and they're having success, I think that with just your natural, what you have going on, I think I would be able to turn the screen off and listen to you guys and still have an enjoyable time.
That's really nice to hear, because that's what we want.
Yeah.
I want people to look at me. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, your vanity. I mean,
Let's
when you look like
be
Superman,
real
Jon
here,
Snow.
buddy. You're a grip. I mean, we can't all be Tavyn, can't all be can't be the total package,
Yeah.
So can't be Heath. Oh my gosh. Heath, if you're listening out there, thanks for and letting these guys know about me.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that you guys are fun to just be around. I mean, despite the movie talk, I mean, we're talking podcast stuff here, and with the paradigm that you guys are trying to build, I mean, you have literally so many angles that you can attack where the video side will be successful. The audio side will be successful. The engineering side where you're actually talking about your ideas.
Mhm.
I mean, dude, just a few of the ideas that you've already said, like in my head, I'm not a content creator necessarily, but like in my head, I'm like, oh, well, they can do a spinoff on this and that. Like,
It gets your wheels going, right?
right.
And that's
Like,
what we want to just get involved in and really
That's what we
get
wanted.
excited
I
about.
really like,
Man. We have to, like, at work, we're constantly like, man, how would you do that? And it's like, oh, well, if we would like, save it.
save
Like-
it for the
tell you what, because you guys work often, and I know that you guys will be working soon, try this as just a learning lesson.
Mhm.
Take one of your walkies, run it into a recorder, and just, if you have the capability, record the entire walkie
Dude,
chatter.
we have talked about doing
So
that
many
and getting in trouble so many times.
so many times.
I mean, like, you can edit it, obviously. I mean, you could do whatever you need to do
That
to
would
make
be
it
funny.
listenable. But I guarantee you, just from the banter between the two of you and your
How
crew,
did you guys get canceled before the first episode even came out?
you guys got fired on your day off. But like, no, but I think you guys have that capability. And like, I haven't necessarily like come to any conclusions on like, this is the best idea and this is the angle I'm going to go, because like, I don't want to be married to my ideas
Mhm.
because I want to constantly evolve. So anytime I have a good idea, like my son and we were talking about like, what do you want to do on your show? And I'm just like, I'm just going to talk and have it a hangout. And then as he was like walking away, like he asked me what's my show going to be about. I felt like I needed an answer, and like the hangout was like my answer. And then I thought to myself, like, I could do whatever I damn well please. Like,
Who the hell do you think you are?
well, I mean, not only that, like, but like for instance, like, cause my son, he's like very smart, he's very bright, and like he's probably thinking like, why are you limiting yourself? And that's like what got me going. It's like I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, I should think a little bit more like Ethan. Like, why am I gonna stop my ideas here? Like, I have the Bob Dodd show on YouTube now. There's no other Bob Dodd show. I'm the only Bob Dodd show because YouTube says it. I mean, they gave me the name. I'm the only Bob Dodd show. Like, I can go out there and explain about my motorcycles.
Yeah.
I can go explain about how there's cracks in my driveway.
Well, there's something fun about, especially, having guests on and your viewership getting to just come hang out with you and your friends.
Yeah.
Like that's
another thing
a
too.
calming,
I got cool
cathartic.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cathartic thing to be able to listen to, and it's fun, and especially in, you learn things about jiu-jitsu or dolly gripping or best boying or
Yeah.
making a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, like, dude, no one ever told me, like, Bob, you're going to need to get the Rodecaster Pro 2. You're going to need to get these, OBSBot cameras. You're not, definitely don't buy this light, get this light. No one's told me anything. I literally was like talking to my wife and I said, I did a lot of research on YouTube. She's like, there's no researching on YouTube. Like, well, yeah, there is. I mean, I'm looking at all these other podcasts doing video podcasts. And if you look at this right here, you can tell this isn't a video podcast. Like, most studios are dark. They have really like definite key lighting, hair lighting. They got different, and I don't want my podcast to be like that. I want my podcast to be bright and open and seen by all angles. I feel like that, like, this could be anything that I want it to be. And I didn't think about that until my kid was like, what's it going to be? And I just want to be like, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to be, but hopefully if they don't like me, they like my friends, because I'm going to have all my friends on, and eventually I'll have somebody on that I don't know that I'll have to get to know on the show.
You make new friends.
And you make new friends. So that's like where I'm kind of at. And it's very easy to get caught up and let your wheels spin. Dude, I can't wait just for a iPhone video. Like, dude, I have these things that they're lavalier mics, and they work. They actually sound not so bad. Like, they sound almost as good as this. And they're They're called Hollyland Mark IIs or whatever. They're real cheap. It's like $100 on Amazon. You get 2 mics. You plug the I guess whatever on the receiver on the bottom of your phone, and you could just film, and it sounds okay. You know, I would even enjoy that from you guys. And I want to implore you, or not implore you. I don't know the right word. I would like to see an episode by the end of the week. You heard it here, folks. Their non-essential dialogue is going to be opening. It might be the shittiest quality version of it, but it's going to happen this Friday.
Gonna do it only over like Xbox 360 game chat.
Hell yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
I need it to be like this, and no one can understand.
Not even. Let's do it on Discord, wireless on our phones, across the room in the kitchen.
Dude, even if it had latency issues where like you'd be talking like this, I just said, like, dude, I guarantee you,
It's a
like
Boost Mobile commercial.
with the way you guys look, the way you guys act with one another, people are going to be interested. They're going to tune in just because of the silly shit. You guys are fun.
Thanks, Bob.
Know that.
Thanks,
like,
man.
use that so I have something to do Friday night. I mean, yeah, I guess I could play Hot Wheels and Legos with my kids. I mean, I could, say sweet nothings to my wife on Friday night, but like,
I'd rather listen to us too.
I could watch you guys on Friday. I could force my kids to watch you guys too.
There it is.
That's not safe.
There it is.
That's okay.
They might grow up a little weird.
Dude, I got to tell you, like, do either of you have kids?
No, not yet.
No, not yet. Are either of you guys married yet?
Yeah, both married.
Both married. So
Arguably to each other.
yeah, you guys are like the grumpy old men. No, no,
We
like
often get called what is it? Walter and Muppet guys. The Muppet dudes.
the dude, the brokers from
Statler
New
and
York.
Waldorf.
Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah,
Waldorf.
I bet you $1.
Yeah.
We'll just sit there. People are fucking around on set. We'll just roast him on the radio. And we won't let go. And you can just see Lou just like, stop talking.
Poor Lou. I mean, like,
I do
he
feel bad
loves
for
it.
him sometimes.
I don't. He
Well,
loves it.
Lou, if you're listening, why don't you come on my podcast and we could talk about dealing
he would
with
love
these two
that.
guys.
He'd be so happy to
I
come.
wonder
out
if you
here.
remember me, Lou. I was the guy who was like, I can't believe I'm getting paid. I accepted $21 an hour on How High too. Dude, Parker was like,
Ugh.
what? Because I said, like, if I knew I was getting paid 21, I would have never came. And like, I said it as a joke, and Parker was just so unhappy with me at the time.
That would be something. that would get straight under Jack's skin for sure.
Dude, I was like, Jack, if I knew it was $21 an hour, I would have never come on. And he was like, looked at me, and like I was joking because I would have probably worked for free for Parker.
Yeah.
Jack. I would like Jack's such an amazing human.
Best job though. I think he was probably a little deer in headlights.
Really?
At that time, yeah.
Oh my gosh, he's
I don't
so
know if it was his first overall, but it was his first for Lou.
okay. All right. Well, and Jackson Parker, if you're listening here, I want you to know that I've talked so much about your airplane voice.
Oh my god, fucking Jack Parker radio,
Dude.
Oh,
Best voice in the industry, Jack Parker. I gotta tell you, there's so many, dude. So like our circle of network here in the film industry, just worldwide. I hope we have a lot of bests of like Jack. He has the best airport walkie-talkie voice.
unparalleled.
Mike Lowendick has the best walk-run thing to the set. If you ever get a chance, I mean, I think they should teach that for IATSE. They should teach it, dude. Like we have so many people that are the best of what we know.
Anthony George with the soothing voice.
If you haven't worked with Anthony, I need Anthony. If you're listening, I'm gonna get you I'm gonna bring one of these mics to your house while you're sleeping. I'm gonna set it up. You're gonna wake up. You're gonna tell me good morning, and you're gonna read me a fucking book. Anthony George is probably the only guy on set, probably the only person in the world other than my wife and Payne that I openly flirt with. That man. Oh my god, that man could
voice,
tell me anything, and I'd be okay.
It wouldn't register on this microphone. It's so low, you would have a problem with the table shaking as he talks. And hearing him over the radio, it's just like, it's great.
So they're gonna call you and invite you on my show.
Oh my god!
You 5 minutes, you would be like, "This is what the podcast should be." It
Yeah.
should just be you reading something.
If you don't have a best friend yet, like they're like, that's my best friend, it's gonna be Anthony.
He's
Oh,
great.
man.
Oh my God.
He's
I
great.
would die or kill others for Anthony.
See, we have so many people that we would do that for. I mean, like literally, like we really do. Like, I mean, like for all the people that are in the film industry, I'm sure there's amazing people in California. I feel like I met so many people from California because California has the JIP card. They come to any state.
Well, it's how they do it in LA.
LA.
But like, well, I mean, here's the thing. Like, so like, let's be real. So like, if the production starts in LA and decides to film in Atlanta, it's an LA film. If Atlanta starts a production and it decides to go to LA, we're still not allowed to go. but the thing is like, you know, like most productions are LA based. So we can't be upset. And the reason why the agreements are the way they are is because of the fact that things start where they start. Now, I feel like I've met many, many people in the film industry. I have to say that when I left Pittsburgh, I had this like worry. I'm going to go to Atlanta and I'm going to get every job because I hear Atlanta people don't know anything. This is going to be amazing. My first job in Atlanta, I swear I met some of the best people that I love today. And it's just like, don't believe the bad shit that you hear. Believe half of the amazing stuff that you hear.
Yeah.
And when you get a chance to work with people that are not from your town, give them the grace and the pass to get to know them. Because if you get on someone's ass because they're from LA and you're so used to saying, that's not how we do it here in LA or whatever. And I mean, like, number one, we say that because LA folks definitely feel like they know better, but they don't. I mean,
maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
I don't even know. But like, really? I mean, like, do you still make spaghetti the same way in Italy as you do here? I mean, no.
Break them in half, right?
No. I will murder somebody breaking noodles in half.
But no, you're right though. I mean, like, you come here and you listen to this, you hear so much of like the externally perpetuated bullshit from, you know, other areas or people that had a bad experience. And it's like, it's not true. You can go to LA, you can go with guys that are fine, that are fine.
I think it's
come to Atlanta, it's the same thing.
It's one of the same things. It's like those, like the purge that you were talking about.
Yeah.
Is you get a lot of those guys that are like, you know, there are obviously the people that are LA does it better.
Yeah.
I've met a lot of LA grips that are great. I've met a lot of LA grips that I'm like, you do anything or do you just sit there? Like, what are you here for? You just came to Atlanta because you think you can get more jobs. There's also, you know, people from Louisiana that were so mad when Atlanta first started kicking off because, oh, we're stealing everything from Louisiana.
Should have never gave you guys that vampire movie.
Exactly. It's like, are we, or were you just the first guy out?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. I mean, once again, like, give everybody the chance. Cause like one thing I noticed is the people that are about to give you the hardest time are probably from your own local. And if you even decide to befriend somebody, you know, like it's stupid that it can be petty, but 9 times out of 10, if you're worth your weight, you're always like, and you're good to be around, you're always going to outshine the negative person. So stay with that positive attitude. And for anybody that's like just kind of like joining the industry,
personality's everything.
Yeah, personality's everything. And like same thing with podcasts.
What are you doing? Go somewhere.
Yeah. Like, and I can't say this enough. I feel like I've said this on other episodes of my podcast here. It's like, dude, like being pleasant is like the very first thing when I was with Ross on my very first podcast, and shout out to Ross Jones. Thank you for being my first, man. You made it.
You always remember your first.
Yeah, dude. Like he made it.
Thanks.
He made it easy. He made it easy. Unlike you, you seem like it make it real hard. But so like
he's like a step on you kind of guy.
Yeah. I get it. But like thanks to Ross, dude. Like he made my realization of doing a podcast is like, you know what, this is something I do want to do. Because if I get another chance to meet another Ross Jones or talk with another Ross Jones, then it's going to be worthwhile to do it. Whether if I make money or whether if I get subscriptions or whatever, it's going to be worth it. And then more and more as I've been doing this, like I'm only podcast 7 and now, like the more and more I do this, it's like I realize I want to do this more. And it has nothing to do with finances, but the hang and the talking to smart people who do dumb things, you know, to speaking with dumb people who do the smartest things. Yeah. Like how many people have you been around where it's like, I'd like to hang out with that person again, but you can't because number one, you're working with the dude and he's just off for 3 days. You know, like that's our mentality.
One. Because he was only with us for like 3 days and I never spoke to him on the show.
Oh boy.
So fun story. We did a show together called Dolly Parton Christmas on the Square.
It's on Netflix. Go watch it.
We did that show for like, I don't know, 3 months.
I don't remember.
Never once talked to me. That entire show, I really don't know if we said more than 3 or 4 sentences to each other.
Hey, bring me this thing.
It was enough for you to remember, not like by name.
You had a mask on, a hat on at 4 o'clock in the morning in Dallas.
Dude, when you look like a crippled ninja under that like
hell yeah
smock that you have to wear.
And I knew those.
That was. I mean, I didn't. That was when was Christmas on the Square? 2018.
2018.
2018. We did not see each other again until 2021 on Stargirl.
Yeah.
And I came in and he was like, I know you. It's like, yeah, we worked together on Dolly Parton. Fast forward 5 years and best friends and hang out all the time.
We did. We were doing Stargirl because you didn't come on at the beginning. So you came in like what, probably 2 months into it?
It was like a month in,
something like that.
It wasn't right.
We were on the truck at Rap.
It was. I tell you exactly what it was. It was 3 weeks in because I had seen the email that came out that had Jack's name on it.
That's right.
And I sent Jack a message and he was like, you know, I'll try to find something if I can. But you know, I got a lot of people. I was like, okay. And then I forget what happened. There was a second unit day or something like 3 weeks in and he needed a whole bunch of people.
Well, it was because, what was it? Oh, it was everybody popped positive.
Yes.
Because I had to key Stargirl.
People were popping positive and you were keying and he was like, I need people that are, that can come in or whatever. Like,
I need people that don't pop.
Yeah. And, or maybe it was, he needed people that were already vaccinated or something. I can't remember what it was. And it was like, yeah,
he thought it was a rigging day.
Yeah, I 100% thought it was a rigging day. And
is it set work?
Yeah, well, yeah, was it Dante that was on that?
Yeah, no. Yeah, it was Dante.
Because like I had been talking to them.
Squatch was besting for me.
I don't know why I thought that it was because I knew Jack was first unit, but I was just like, I showed up and was like, oh, doing second unit for first, you know, okay, whatever. Back out there, met him, and then became like the second or third day player, and then became the first day player, and then by the end of the show was core. So it worked out really well for me.
You get hired on for 3 days and you stay the next 3 months.
All you need is one. I mean,
that's the film industry, folks.
That's how I got with joined with Lou.
Yeah.
It was on Good Girls season 1. I was Heath was out there pushing B Dolly until the rest of the guys came back or something like that, and Heath was like, hey, I gave your information to Lou. We need guys for 6 days. We got 6 days until the main guys come from the other movie. And you want to come out? I was like, yeah, fuck yeah. So me and Chuck go out there. There was like 8 of us, dude. There was like 8 day players. And 3 days in, Lou goes, hey, what are you doing for the next 6 months?
There it is.
Like, hopefully I'm working for you.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah. He's like, you're going to be our number 1 day player for the rest of the show. And then a week later, I was core. And then not too much longer after that, I was his pocket guy.
Yeah.
But it just takes, I mean, those guys that aren't core yet or getting into it, A, don't, B, just takes 1 day.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to be, the best grip to be a pocket guy either. You just have to be on the same level as your key. And then you have to know what's going on at set.
Be able to read the key's mind.
Yeah.
Gotta know what he wants before he knows what
we were on the 48 at Rap on Stargirl.
Yeah.
And Chloe looks at us. She's like, how long you guys known each other? We're like, I don't know. 4 months.
Yeah. But that's the way it works. That's the way it works. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, I was so big. Oh, man, Christmas on this Quarter was that was a hard show.
It was an interesting show.
That was one of those shows where the DP was very good. He's a very good DP, and I really liked him. We got along great. I can't remember what his name was. He was German fella. He was European gentleman, and but it was one of those ones where someone had to be with him.
This is why I need a guy. I could say,
Always.
look it up for us.
Yeah, he
Really nice
literally he followed him around, like, and it wasn't of Tavyn would have done it anyway,
Sure.
but it wasn't of Tavyn's accord. It was
a request from the
an
DP.
electrician and a grip have to follow me around
Yeah.
always.
So I was either attached to his hip, lighting off to the side while Lou was doing the main set, or running the second units that were spur of the moment. So I didn't. To be fair, I was like, Matt was on that show, Paul was on that, Wyatt was on that,
Carlos was on.
Carlos was on that. I barely talked to Carlos. It
Yeah.
was just like I was so busy on that show, I barely talked to fucking anybody.
Well, I mean, that's what happens. Like when you're the key that fits in the hole, like that turns the lock or unlock or whatever.
I'll fit in a hole.
Yeah, that's what it is. I want you guys to know, like when you first came here, you were like, "How long is the podcast going to be?" I said, "There is no time limit."
Have we hit the time?
No, we're still going. We're still going. It is what it is. We've been recording for 2 hours and 34 minutes.
Oh,
Wow.
Talk about an editing fiasco later. But what I'm saying is, like, this is one thing that I like about having no time limit.
Mm.
Like, I'm here enjoying your company, and hopefully the listeners are enjoying your company as well. So, like, I could go for another while. You know what I'm saying? I want to know, like, for your experience of being on this show, like, are you guys having a good time so far?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, because, like, I'm wondering if I'm ever going to get the correct feedback. Because, like, so far, you know, it's like, I sit here and wonder, like, what is the next step? What am I going to learn on this podcast that I can implement in the next podcast?
Mhm.
And, you know, I'm realizing that personalities have a lot to do with maybe what am I going to do? Because, like, my next podcast is it's a good friend of mine, and he's in the aviation industry.
Oh, cool.
You know, yeah. So,
Interesting.
like, and we're going to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. So look out for the next podcast. But you know, like, although we're good friends, you know, like, I don't necessarily know what to talk about, because whenever we're together, it's bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like, I know I'm going to talk aviation, and I know I'm going to talk because he's a flight attendant, and I know I'm going to talk about, like, destinations and stuff like that.
That's gotta be
Especially,
fun, man.
yeah. It's
Aside from dealing with the what was that preacher? What did preacher call him? The demons on the airplanes. It's probably a lot of fun getting to go around and see stuff.
I mean,
you probably do get to meet some pretty neat people.
well, I mean, one of the things that I've learned, because from the few folks that I know about the aviation industry, they all have these, like, special places where they like to go eat. And it's like, it's never where they live. It's always like, yeah, if you're ever, you know, flying to, I don't know, Texas, you know, you go to, like, Jim Ray's barbecue. And, like, if you're ever flying to Ireland, you want to go to Schmitty Smacks. And it's like, what?
I would think if I were the audience next, whenever you do the next one, if he's a flight attendant, I would want to know about the craziest people that he's had to deal with. Somebody's
I
had to
didn't
be
even
kicked
think
out
of
of a
that.
plane.
God, dude, on my flight back from Japan, there was a lady like 4 rows up from Aaron and I, that was just like badgering the living fuck out of this flight attendant. And she's like, "Come here from Japan. There's a lot of Japanese people. The plane's from Japan. All of the snacks are from Japan." And this lady is like, "What's in this?"
Oh,
I was
my.
like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "Well, I'm allergic to," I couldn't quite make out what she was saying. She's like, "I'm allergic to stuff." And the flight attendant's like, "Well, these are all pre-packaged foods. You can have them or not, or you can have what you have, or if you go to the back of there's a galley at the middle and a galley at the aft. You're welcome to have whatever you want." She's like, "Well, what's in them? What are they?" And he's like, "Dog, listen, it's all in Japanese." And he's like, "I know. How do I know what's in it?" She's like, "You come find me. You or you." Boop. Bing bong. You ask for the flight attendant to come.
That was a great bing bong.
That was a great big bong.
And I will come and I will read to you the ingredients of this thing. And it's just like this lady throwing a fucking fit.
That's the shit. Like they've had to turn around a plane at some point. He's had to have been on a plane that had to turn
Dude.
around. He's had to have kicked.
I didn't even think
off.
about this.
Dude, he's got to be on one where somebody just shit their pants.
Oh my gosh.
Like I was on one. I know
been
it's
on
happened.
one where someone shit their pants. I've been on one where someone shit their pants.
It was our flight to Japan. The guy fucking shit.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
He didn't like go to
I'm-
the bathroom?
I think it
I'm
was, like,
shocked.
the turbulence and everything just geeked.
I'm shocked
As a
that
young
this
kid?
must. Well, ask him because there's 2 anecdotal stories about 2 people who've been on 2 different flights where people have shit their pants. It must be a thing. So
Rule
you should
first.
ask him if
I will. I
if
will
people-
ask.
Mine was an overseas back from Hawaii where somebody shit their
Wow.
pants, and it's like, all right, well, go to the bathroom, put a blanket on. Like,
Here's the throw up bag.
yeah,
I never even thought about people shitting themselves on a plane.
Oh man.
We had when we were coming back from Santorini to Greece, my wife and I we were on this like foil boat, and we were wondering why every like 3 feet there was like brown paper puke bags. Well, 10 minutes into the ride, you know why. But people pooping themselves on a plane?
I don't know.
Like, oh my gosh, my belly hurts.
See,
We're
that's
at 32,000 feet. Can we go to 36? Oh my gosh, wait a second.
what do you mean? There's only 2 bathrooms on this thing.
Carol, I shit myself.
One of these emergency doors has to open, right?
I always shit at 9,700 feet, and I forgot my diaper this time.
It's a
Oh
pressure
my
change
gosh.
thing.
You pop your ears, I pop my asshole.
Jean Paul, I'm going to be asking you all about shit.
That's a good
That's the
thing
next
for you on the
snakes on a plane.
podcast. You tell whoever's doing the podcast now, whoever's your guest that time, you tell them who the next guest is and ask them what questions they would want to ask. So you get that
Perfect.
like
It's a perfect
cohesion
setup.
between each
Perfect.
episode.
That is perfect. Like at one point, I'm going to have to mix industries and have like a airline pilot with a grip or like cake maker with like a. Oh my gosh.
If different careers have to ask each other questions, like the ascot, do they have to wear the ascot?
Is
The
it like
crossover is
Or
always
do they get to wear the ascot?
the crossover is always how many people shit themselves in your industry?
Yeah. You
And
think
you
of
can
it.
answer. I almost shit myself on screen.
Oh my gosh.
We're sitting there, dude. We were rapping out, and it was like piss pouring rain. We had to get out of there, and it was like load the truck, and it was one of those like get gurgling.
Yeah,
Dude, you kind of like you got to stop for a second. Everyone's kind of
He
like
was-
you gotta get there. You're like,
he was loading some stuff and it
Dude.
just took off.
I was like, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
Dude, everybody I'm sure has that story at work, especially at like, well,
Like a
I don't know.
finish.
I don't know who did it, but Tyler, the best boy on Ozark,
Yeah.
he was getting everybody breakfast burritos, and he asked everybody, "Do you want hot sauce? Do you want sauce on your burritos?" And I said, "I'll take hot sauce."
No.
Well, I don't know if it was a joke on me or if the hot sauce was just used, but someone put the end hot sauce. I don't know if you know about the end. It's a hot sauce that has 3 X's on it, and it's called the end. So they put it on my burrito, and I'm operating a 30 by 30, and it's basically a JLG telescoping forklift with a 30 foot by 30 foot rag and steel frame on it. And I'm operating it at the beginning of the Ozark. And it's like, I don't know, like 7:30 in the morning, 8 in the morning.
It's only like 95 degrees out.
Oh man.
Gotta
And
love a good Scooby in the morning.
so I get my burrito and I know I'm going to be busy. So what does a grip do? I scarf the first half of it down in the first bite or two. And then all of a sudden, as I'm like trying to operate this machine, people are talking over the walkie. I hear people around me, and all of the audible noises, like it's like normal talking, and I'm like, what is going on? And all I hear, and I'm like, I don't know what they're saying. I can't hear it. And then my knees are burning, my ears are burning, my elbows and shoulders are hurting, and I don't know what was in my burrito, but I only like took 3 bites, which was like, I guess half the burrito. And I'm like looking at, I forget if I look at Ben or Jordan. If you're listening out there, you guys might remember, but I'm looking at him and all I'm hearing is like, I'm like, Jordan, you got to take over the law. I have to leave. So I get off the law and I'm like walking. And then all of a sudden I'm like, I have to run, and I'm running. So I'm running to the Four Banger, which is the restrooms for the film industry folks, the Four Banger. And dude, I literally spend like a long time. I don't know how long. It felt like hours. I'm sure it was probably maybe 15, 20 minutes, but it felt like hours. And once again, like as I'm running to the bathroom, I hear, so I don't know if they're calling me or talking to me or giving me like, directions on how to bring the Scooby in. And I'm just like, I can't care about anything right now other than just to sit on this toilet. And for about 7, 8 like literal minutes, I didn't hear anything other than so dude, I understand the whole, and this could be the closing story. So I understand the having to go to the bathroom, and all I can think of is like these dudes pulled like something's wrong with the food or something. But I later went to craft service to try to like get some milk or something because everything was like burning. And the craft service guy goes, "Did you eat the burrito?"
Oh God.
And I'm like, why is he talking about my burrito? And apparently he's the one who brought the end sauce. And someone
Classic.
someone went to Mario's and was like, use this hot sauce. So I think a prank was pulled on me. And if it wasn't pulled on me, which it's totally possible that I just had some weird reaction to the hot sauce that Mario's had. But yeah, I think someone got
That
me.
sounds like sabotage.
It sounds like it, right? Because like, dude, my knees hurt, everything hurt. My ears were just like,
So if there's anything to take away from the story is don't take a burrito from Tyler.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I've taken burritos after. I mean, it's been okay.
Checking every single one.
Yeah. But yeah, they're definitely Grips are prankster. Everyone's a prankster. But you know what? It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. This is the longest podcast I've done so far.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
that's another thing too. Like you guys will have to get maybe a handle on this because I haven't got a handle on it yet. Driving the conversation, steering the objectives of what needs to be talked about, what doesn't need to be talked about, or whatever. I'm gonna have to learn how to do that because like I don't know what's interesting because like everything that we talked about tonight, it's like I'm having a good time hanging out. Like
Well, that's what carries on though. Is like
Yeah.
if it's entertaining and you're being entertained,
yeah,
hopefully the people listening are
And
feeling that same energy.
in your defense, we're the worst about tangents.
Oh, fuck.
So the fact that we have
a
to circle back around to the podcast
we're gonna have a
three
person.
times is 100% our fault.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, when you guys come back on, and I'm asking all my guests, like let me know when you're available. Cause like if you guys wanted to come back on next week, I'd be like, yeah. So let me know when you guys are available. And I would love to have you guys back on. And hopefully that the listeners that are listening in on this podcast, I have amazing friends. I have so many talented friends, people that I probably don't call enough. Probably I don't like email enough or text message enough that every time we get back together, it's like where we just left off. I have so many friends and they're all talented and they're all amazing at something. And everybody here at the table today has a secret talent that we haven't talked about yet. And you guys need to know about these talents later on. So you guys got to tune in the next podcast.
Oh yeah.
So as soon as I learn how to like really edit all these videos together and promote podcasts and promote next episodes and talk about previous episodes and things like that, you're just going to have to wait on it. But I have so many friends and so many more friends that are coming along. And I want you guys to stay tuned and you guys will see these guys again, like Payne. It was a true like pleasure to actually get to meet you and hang out with you today.
And funny enough to figure out that we really have worked together before.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like, dude, like I know I'm forgettable and I know that I forget stuff. I've had too many head injuries to know that I forget a lot of things. But like, Tavyn, like it's been years, and Tavyn has one of those names. Like, I don't know if I ever say it correctly twice in a row. You know, it's kind of like Mark Catania's last name. Like I say, you know, Mark, if you're listening to this too, man, my heart goes out to you. I know you're dealing with a lot of different things right now.
Yeah.
And I just want you to know that we're all here for you.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah. And thinking of you constantly. This time, I'm just thinking of you constantly. And I have great friends like Mark that come into my life and show my kid some drum stuff and helps my son set up some drums.
Awesome.
You know, I have great friends. So everyone that's listening, you can keep tuning back and meet more of my great friends and continue hanging out with my great friends. And maybe one day we'll hang out with you in real life.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Come and listen, hang out with Bob and his friends.
Yeah. This should be the Bob
Maybe
and friend.
one day you'll be a friend.
Dude, I'm always looking for good friends.
We're all friends down here.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're interested, just look us up and look out for the non-essential dialogue. I can't wait because, like, seriously, you guys are a blast to listen to because it is very funny. And Heath, I have to say thank you again, dude. This is like a really good podcast. It was really, really smart to have these guys on. So
thanks, Heath.
Well, we appreciate being here.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Thank you for having us out. This is fun.
Well, cool. Well, that's it for the folks that are listening. This is going to be the end of the show. Tune in next time and tune in before and after and all the other jazz that people are supposed to say. I think you're supposed to like and subscribe, comment down below and all that jazz or whatever people are supposed to do. And looking forward to hanging out with you next time. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Bye.